and welcome to or welcome back to my channel. As a handmade small business owner, I am constantly bulk prepping my products because they take so long to make and I have 2 huge markets a year. I just completed spring Junkstock and it went so well. I'll be sure to link the videos down below. But in order to get ready for that market, it took me 6 months prior of bulk prepping all of my products in order to have enough product to take. So I thought it'd be fun to look back on all the bulk prep videos that I did and how much inventory I actually made for this market. And this will just be a short summary of every video, so I'll be sure to have them linked individually down below. But we're gonna start all the way back in February with our brand new Colorblock bags, and I'll take you over the course of 6 days of bulk prepping these bags. It is day 1 of bulk prepping these boxy pencil cases, and I'm not wasting any time. I'm hoping for 3 days for this project. Today's Monday, it is like 7 a.m. I'm getting right to it bright and early. I don't think I've ever started bulk prepping this early, but I'm up. So I'm starting. And our very first thing that we need to do for bulk prepping, for any bulk prep, is cutting out our fabric. If you're new here, these are all of my different fabrics. We have, I think, a total of 23 now. All of these, and then we also have liner fabric here. And then we also have this fabric over here, this little rosebuds. This one just does not fit with all the other ones, so I always keep it out. But a lot of fabric to go through and a lot of bags to make. Ta-da! All of our outer fabric is now on batting, and this is like the most satisfying pile. All perfectly cut out and on their batting, so now we can get to quilting all of these. Also, I cut out way too much batting, but this will be used eventually, and we're just in time for the sunrise. You can't see it, but I'm gonna open up my window. I'm gonna start us a timer and see how long this quilting takes. I'm predicting maybe like an hour and a half. We'll see. Maybe closer to an hour. I don't know. Or 2. I don't really know. You know what? Let's just put it to the test. I'm gonna start our timer here, our stopwatch, and let's see. Right now it's 8:35, so we're doing really good on time. I'm like prime time for the sunrise here. The only bad part is it's freezing out, so I can't like open a window, but at least we got the sunrise. Timer is started. Let's get to work. 1 hour and 19 minutes later, and we have everything quilted. That's actually not too bad, and it was pretty close to what I thought, like an hour and a half. I'm telling you, that Juki really makes a difference in quilting time, at least, and just ease, like having the table and everything. So now all of these need to be cut to size. I'm gonna cut them down, and in total these are gonna be 4 bags here out of just these 2 pieces per fabric. So I'll cut them to size, and then we can actually get to my whole explanation of how we're gonna have different bias tape and different liner for all of our different bags. And I'll show you how I thought of that last night, because it took me forever, so I can't wait to share it. All right, that was easy enough. Got all of those cut out, all 4 of each 23 different designs. And this is the aftermath of everything that I had to cut off. And now I want to show you my full plans for these bags and how I planned out how to do bias tape and liner for each bag, because last time that I did these and I just tried to experiment with them, it took me so long to even come up with 5 combinations of 2 different fabrics and 1 bias tape. So this time around, I decided I would do this ahead of time, because we have in total 92 different bags, which, I mean, that's just, it took me forever, needless to say. So let me walk you through my thought process and how I documented everything and how we're gonna recreate all of my different combinations, I guess. So I did this all in Google Sheets just to make it a lot easier. And right here we have our outer fabric. And the outer fabric, I just put in 4 different rows for every single fabric, going all the way down to 92 fabrics. And these I like didn't copy and paste down, but you get the idea. All the different fabrics that we're gonna have in stock. I also labeled each bag with a number, and that I didn't really have to do. It just made it more convenient to see how many different bags we actually have. Then moving over from outer fabric, we have bias tape number. So this number is gonna correlate to a specific bias tape in this bin. And all of these bias tapes I numbered on the side, so I know exactly what number to look for, and they're also in order from 1 to 21 in the back. So all I did was I got out this outer fabric and I looked at what liner fabric would go good with that, and I put in 4 of those. So these are the 4 that I chose for bright floral. And then with those in mind, I decided which bias tape would look good with those outer and liner combos. And I just did that going all the way down for every single bag until we got to number 92. So lots of different numbers and different combos. And then from there, I needed to figure out how much actual liner to cut out. And so I just sorted this by A to Z, this D column. And then over here, I just counted how many of each liner fabric we need. So we can cut out all of these. This is just like 26 white bags, 12 pink gingham bags. So this will be doubled essentially for the number of sides of the bags. So 26 in total of the 92 bags will have white liner, if that makes sense. So then going all the way down. Then I did the same thing for column C, the bias tape number. I just sorted this A through Z, which sorts it from 1 to, I think 21 is our highest bias tape. And then down here, I wrote in bias tape number. So this is like gonna correlate to the bias tape in the tote. And then this is the number of bags that will have those bias tapes on them. And then the rest of all of this is just kind of for my own understanding of what exactly I need to cut out, like how many inches of each bias tape I need to cut. So that's kind of what all of that is. But in total, I feel like this should make it really easy to find all of the different combinations and have them documented in some way. And this is actually one of my favorite parts of doing this bulk prep, at least so far, because usually I don't get to choose all of the different combinations. Obviously, I make all of the bags, but I have like set in stone combinations that I have on my website, whereas all of these bags I don't have on my website, so I can just like pick and choose and make new combos. So this was really fun to do last night. It didn't even feel like like 4 or 5 hours went by while I was doing this. It was just fun being able to combine different fabrics. So I'm excited to show you guys all the different combinations. And I think next up, we're gonna have to start cutting out those liners. So I'm glad that I calculated the total number of bags that are gonna have those liners, because otherwise, if I was just going outer fabric to outer fabric and choosing the liner and the bias tape and cutting all of that for each outer fabric, it would take us all day. Like, I'm so glad that I did this ahead of time and decided on all of the different bias tape, all of the liners, so that I can cut out one fabric of liner at a time, cut all 26 bags. Otherwise, if we were just cutting all of the bright floral liner and then all of the cherry red liner, we would be here all day, because we'd also have to repeat that for the bias tape. So I'm thinking we're gonna cut out liner first, and then so we only have like looks like 11 different fabrics to do, so not too many. And then our bias tape, we have 21 different bias tape to cut out, and we have all different lengths, and so we need to figure that out. But this is just kind of like the restock almost of materials that we need to use for this bulk prep. I always like to restock our certain materials like pull tabs or bias tape or zippers or liners, and that's just kind of the part that we're at now, because we can't continue without doing that. I'm so excited to use these bias tapes. Like, they are so cute. I cannot wait to show you guys all the different combos that I have in mind. It's also interesting to see on here which bias tape I gravitated more towards, and our top 2 bias tapes are this white dots on brown and this pink and green floral. So I'm interested to see how many different fabrics we have with these specific bias tapes, but I know every single bag is gonna be different. Well, I guess apart from pink and yellow floral, I could not find any of these bias tapes that look good with the outer and the liner that I chose. So I think those we have duplicates, but otherwise they're all gonna be different. Okay, up first, let's cut out our liners. We're just gonna start with white and go down the line. Okay, it's been a little bit since we last talked, but I practiced on a little bag just to make sure I still know how to make these, and it turned out so incredibly adorable. I love the bias tape. I think it just adds the extra pop of color that I think these bags need. But what I was really working on while doing this was measuring out each bias tape piece that I need to cut so that I don't cut too much or too little. So I wrote down those measurements, and then I laid out all of our outer fabrics all over the table so that we can see all the different ones. I also laid out our liner fabric as well, and my goal here is to cut out one of the bias tapes, let's say this one, number 17, and I can cut out all of the bias tape, and then I can grab the outer fabric, the liner, and the bias tape and stack them all up in the order that they go in. So each bag essentially will have like every element that it needs all in one place, instead of like having my materials in different bins and then having to grab them at the sewing machine from different bins. Does that make sense? Like assembling them at the machine, I'll assemble them in a pile that they go in, as in like outer fabric, liner, bias tape, and that will be one bag, and then just repeat that. I think this will be the easiest method rather than cutting out all of the bias tape and just having a whole bunch of bias tape in like one little pile and having to sort through it, and like I won't remember the numbers either, so I can't go off of my Google Sheets. Like I won't be able to remember what all 21 bias tapes are. So I think this will be easier, and now I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting the bias tape, going one by one, and then after each bias tape cut, I can grab the outer fabric, grab the liner, and put the bias tape on top, and just repeat that and create like a whole cake mound of our bags in the order that they go in. Does this make sense? I'll show you guys, I'll take you along, but just explaining my thought process here. Otherwise, I just know I'm gonna get confused if I have a whole stack of bias tape and I don't know what they are. I can't get over how cute this is though. How adorable. I'm glad I remember how to make it. So let's get right into it, cutting this bias tape. So first one I'm starting with is number 1, obviously, And I'm gonna look at the number of bags that we're gonna be making, which is 7 out of this fabric, or bias tape. So I'm first gonna cut our zipper bias tape because there's bias tape that goes right along the zipper on both sides, so I have to cut that. So we need 14 of these cuts here. So there's 8, and then 12, and 13, 14. And then 2 of these bias tapes go with every single bag. So I'll stack these in little piles of 2. And I'll just repeat this with every single bias tape that we're gonna be doing. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. So I'll set these aside because we still have more cuts to do for the bias tape. Our next one is the sides of the bag. So in the interior side is also covered, and we need 2 of each for those as well. Okay, 14 of those. Again, piles of 2. And I'll actually just add these to our piles that we already have, so that each bag will get 1 pile. Then we also need the corners, which is our 3rd cut, and we need 4 of these per bag. Okay, then each pile gets these as well. And then last but not least, the bias tape pull tab that we're gonna be making. And these I'll just sew in a straight line, and then we can cut them out later. Good morning, everyone. We're back for day 2 of this process. Yesterday, I did work a little bit on our bias tape bags. I tried to experiment with a couple to see how much I could do at the machine today and just make it a lot easier. I usually try to just sew a lot of things at the machine instead of pinning, especially with bulk prepping. So these are our 3 stacks of bias tape. We have the bias tape, liner, and then the outer fabric, which these are so cute. Like, I can't wait for you guys to see all of the different combos. But I started experimenting with them, and I got to these 2 different steps. So I think we're gonna go with this step, and then we can cut everything off the edge with those scissors at the end, which looks like this. Yesterday, I also got all of our bias tape cut out, and this is so cute. This rainbow of bias tape. These are for the sides of the bag. So on that bag that I showed you that's already cut off, it'll go on those sides. So that's what all of these are on the bottom. Then we have the corners up top, which is double the amount that we have down here. So these will go on all the corners of the boxy pencil case bags. As you guys may have been able to see from the time lapse of putting everything together, all these piles, the color combinations are incredible, and I honestly can't believe that I made those up just like from putting fabrics right next to each other. Obviously there's not a lot of ways to do that, but I was just kind of imagining like which fabrics would go good together, and then which bias tape would make like a good pop of color for each of these. And that's kind of how I made up those stacks of fabric. So I'm so proud of them, and I think if I do eventually do makeup bags, which I'm thinking I should, I'll probably use the same color combinations that I did, and hopefully they'll turn out good in makeup bags too. As for sewing here at the machine, this is really all that I'm gonna be doing today, is just sitting here at the machine, sewing all of these down, adding the bias tape, adding the zipper, because we have a lot to do, 92 exact bags to do. So I have all of our materials next to me. We have the labels, which I've been cutting out at night recently to kind of save time, and I've only cut out this many. So we have all my handmade labels that I need to attach to these. We've got the bags with the correlating bias tape on top of them. Over here I have some pins, which we don't really need pins today. If I do, it's just to like keep things in place, because sometimes these bags get a little finicky. You have to like pin down some parts, but for the most part we should be good. Then we also have my zippers right here. These little bins I always label just to make sure that I know what is in every bin, and a lot of the other ones are right behind me, but I always pull from this to get all my materials for here at the machine, just so that if I do forget something, it's just right back here and I can grab it. But these are my pencil case zippers. They're, I think, 10-inch zippers. And these I usually buy at 10-inch because then I can use them for a lot of different things. If I have to use them for a wallet, I can. If I want to use it for a pencil case, I can. For these ones, they're perfect. They're the perfect length. So I have our zippers over here. Then we have scissors, obviously. I'm gonna be watching some movies today because we have like so much sewing to do that I know maybe you guys can relate to this. If you have so much to do, sometimes just like getting lost in a movie is the best way to just kind of zone out and just sew for hours and hours and hours. I have my phone over here so we can set a stopwatch again today because I'm kind of curious how long this will actually take us. Yesterday, for these little test runs, these took me about 7 minutes each. So I did the math and it looked like about 11 hours that we have today to sit at the machine if we're gonna do it all the way to this step, sitting right here. So needless to say, I'm gonna be here all day just sewing along, getting these done, and I guess I'll update you guys every hour because I think if I don't, it'll be like the end of the night and I'll be like, hey, I'm done. I feel like that's always how it goes when I'm filming. I don't know, I just zone out and I forget. So I'll plan to update you guys every hour. Hopefully nothing major goes wrong and we just have a very easy day of sewing. On the bright side though, I do remember how to make these, so that's good. And like how, like some of the tips that I did for the first time, I can kind of pull and use for this, like to make it a little bit easier. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and sew along. And like, here's one of our color combos. This one is very out there, I will admit, but I'm like, someone's gonna love it. Like this is someone's cup of tea over the matchy type bags. So I'll be here, I'll update you guys every hour, and I'm just gonna get started on this pile because we have a lot to go. All right, our timer just went off. It has been 1 hour now. And this is how many I completed. We already had, did we have 2 done already? I can't remember. I think it was 2. So we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 in 1 hour. That's actually pretty good. And I think I got the time down to 4 minutes each. So 13, yeah, that's 4.6 minutes for each one, which is actually pretty good. And before I was calculating for 7. So we should be looking at like 5 hours now instead of 11. That's promising. I'm back for day 3 of this process. I know yesterday I was gonna update you guys every hour, and then for whatever reason, I don't know, I just didn't have anything to update you on. Like, we were just sewing the same thing over and over and over again. And we got through a lot of them. These are all of our completed ones, or I guess through the step that we were doing yesterday. So we just need to cut off the sides, add bias tape, corner them, and add bias tape to that. But we still have this whole pile to go, so I'm hoping to finish these up this morning, and then we can get on to cutting the sides of those and adding bias tape. We should have a pretty chill day, I feel like. I would love to get to the point where we're adding bias tape on the corners though. I think that's a good goal for today, and I think we can definitely reach that. But yesterday, I mean, this process took so much longer than I expected, and I should have known that it would take us a while because this is literally like sewing the whole bag. Not the whole thing, but like a really good portion of it, so it will just take us a little bit to do. I'm gonna continue sewing these up today. I have gotten pretty good at doing these. Like, it's kind of like second nature now. Before I was still having to really think about it, but now it's like I can just kind of go along and sew it and almost enjoy the process of seeing all the different bags come together, because they are all different, so it's cool to see all the different color combinations. So I'm just gonna be here all morning. I'm gonna continue sewing these up, and then we will go ahead and get to cutting the sides of these and adding the corresponding bias tape that matches the outside. We are almost to the final stretch of these bags. I got them all organized and cut off all the edges. So let me show you all their little piles. So I thought this would be easier if I laid out all of our bias tape that goes on the side of the bag, and I lay out each bag pile, I guess. So these are like matching bias tape, so I can just grab this one and know that it matches on the inside. So these are all little yellow stripes. So as we're sewing along, I really don't have to think. I don't have to like search through all the 21 different bias tapes that we have, because we also have some more over here. So I can just grab a pile, sew them up, and just keep going down the line. And I think it'd be a lot quicker to sort these all out than to try and sort them at the machine and like pick out the right bias tape. I think there's just a lot more room for error there. So I sorted them all, and now I'm just gonna set all of our piles over by the machine. And I already set our pile of bias tape over here as well. So I need to sew those up and cut those into their little bias tape pieces, or I guess pull tab pieces, because we need to sew all those for the pull tabs. But everything's coming along really good. I really hope that we can get to the point where we cut off the corners tonight. I would love to get to that point. I think that'd be a really good goal to have. So let's just keep working at it. We are moving on to day 4 of this project. Last night I wrapped up with pinning all of our bags and the corners. So we need to sew the bias tape onto those. But before we can do that, we first have to sew up all of these bias tapes that I cut out earlier. I think this was like day 1 that I cut all of these out. So they've just been sitting around, and I need to sew these into the pull tabs that we're gonna add into the corners that we're sewing on these bags. So I need to do these first and then cut them into their individual pieces for the pull tabs, and then we can actually get to sewing all of the corners for the bags. And this is a very easy process. I'm literally just folding the bias tape on itself and then just doing a straight stitch all the way down the side of that bias tape. So just folding it in half and sewing it together. So I'll be here just sewing away our bias tape and making them into the pull tabs. Exactly 1 week later, and we have finished all of the bags. They're all behind me, so let me show you. Well, they were all standing up last night. I stacked them all up till they were like a huge pyramid. I guess they fell over. They just weren't having it. So this is how many I made. So over the course of that video and those 6 days, we made over 90 Colorblock bags, and those did so well at Junkstock. I will definitely have to bulk prep some more for fall because they did so well that I really don't have a lot of the colors left. But moving along into February, we have 200 book sleeves to bulk prep, so let's get right into it. It is day 1 of this project, and that means only one thing. We have a lot of fabric to cut out today. And because of that, last night I did all of our calculations to figure out exactly how much fabric we have to cut out, because otherwise I get too in my head trying to calculate each individual fabric and how much Pellon to cut out and then how much liner fabric. So last night while I was just winding down, I did a little Google Sheets, and I just did like some calculations for how many liner fabrics we're gonna have. For example, we have 10 different fabrics that have white for the liners. So I did calculations on how many small liners we'll have, how many medium liners, and how many large. And this wouldn't be such a problem if I knew like our total quantity and then we only had either one liner fabric or we had one size. But since we have 3 different sizes and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different liners, we have a lot of calculations to do. In addition to that, we have all of the Pellon needed. I did that just 23 fabrics times how many small reader sleeves we're gonna make and then how many book sleeves we're gonna make, both medium and large. And in total, I think we're gonna do 4 small, 3 medium, and 2 large. And that's just based on Junkstock sales for fall 2025. I just downloaded that report last night just to make sure that all of our numbers look good on how many I'm planning to make. And the total quantity that is planned for us to make in this video is 207 sleeves among 3 different sizes, but 207 sleeves, which is a lot. And that puts us just a little over what we sold in fall. So we should be good to restock the shelves both weekend 1 and weekend 2 of spring Junkstock, because that's the whole reason that we're bulk prepping today. Along with my plans, I also did the calculation on how many sold with a bow versus without a bow among the 3 different sizes. So now we have like almost 6 different categories. We have the size, and then we also have the bow versus no bow. And I decided while looking through all of them, we're gonna do half of the sleeves with a bow and then half the sleeves with no bow, because that's about on average what's sold for all of the sizes, surprisingly. So using all my calculations here on my Google Sheets and all of our dimensions, which we already know from cutting out sleeves and the pellon, we can go ahead and just get straight into cutting the fabric. If you're new to my channel, we often bulk prep in all of the different fabrics that I have online 24/7. So these are all of the fabrics that we're going to be bulk prepping with today. These are just the outer fabrics. I also have the liners over here. And this just keeps it very simple for me so that I don't have like so many random fabrics at market. I often just take like my limited edition fabric if they don't sell online, but more often than not, they're always sold out. So I end up just bulk prepping what I already have with my fabric because I have a lot of it and people are familiar with it, and I feel like I also have a great selection to choose from at market then. Last night I was trying to decide, so typically I guess like when I'm bulk prepping, like in the bulk prepping season, which kind of seems like year round pretty much at this point, but while I'm doing that, I often try to make a plan for myself on like what I'm gonna be bulk prepping and then how it lines up with the YouTube videos and like what I can get done within a week or just a couple days. And last night I was trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to bulk prep next because I just finished up the monthly make 02. And finishing up that and doing a lot of like the Hot Tools bags, and then I did the Colorblock bags. I was like, you know what? I wanna do something that has no bias tape. I don't quilt anything. I don't box any corners. We're gonna go back to the basics and do the e-reader sleeves and the book sleeves because I know how to do those. I feel like I could knock them out in a couple days, and they gotta get done. Like, these are one of the top sellers at market, so we gotta get a lot of them done. And therefore, like I said, we have a lot of fabric to cut out this morning. I've just cut out the smalls and the mediums here, and now I'm gonna cut out the large. I usually like to cut them in their little pieces, like off the bolt, and then I cut them into their individual slices once I have like enough fabric to use the electric rotary cutter. So that's my plan for this morning. We'll see how it actually ends up going, but I'm gonna get to work on cutting all of our fabric. Okay, little update here. It's now a little past 9, so we're doing good on time. But here's our fabric piles. So these fabrics I had to cut different than the other ones because they go up and down. Like, they go sideways on the bolt instead of going this way as far as like the direction of the pattern. So I had to cut these little separate, but these ones are size medium, both the outer fabric and the pocket. Then we have size small right here, both pocket and outer. And then we have size medium of the outer of the patterns that don't really have direction, like any orientation. They can just be cut any which way. Then we have size large outer fabric and pocket. And now our next task is to cut out all of the individual pieces. So I cut out the actual like length that we need from each fabric, but now we have to cut them into their little slices. That's what I like to call them, just like they're little pieces for the outer fabric and the pocket. And to do that, I'm gonna use my electric rotary cutter. This thing makes it so easy to just cut a lot of fabric at once. So I'm gonna line up all of these fabrics to be really even, and then we'll go through and cut them all. And this is the main reason that I got this electric cutter. Like, bulk prepping takes so incredibly long. So if I can reduce one step of it, especially cutting fabric, then we're saving a whole bunch of time, especially if we can do it for every single bulk prep. So first thing that I'm going to do before I actually cut the fabric is I'm going to score it. I think I showed you guys this in like a recent video, but I'm going to show you again. So, I mean, as you can tell, this is so much fabric. Like, this would take forever to cut, and we still have more to go after this. So first I'm going to score our fabric at where I want to cut it, right there. And then I have 2 separate piles just because I feel like this one was getting a little too big. So made it into 2. So there's our first cut, and then our next cut I'll also score just right here. And it's like basically just pressing down with that rotary cutter, but not cutting it all the way. So just right on there. and then also at the end here, which I tried to keep like a lot of fabric here because sometimes it gets a little hard when it gets to be a big pile to try and keep it all cutting the same. Okay, so there we have like our distinct lines where we can cut, and now it's just time to cut them. I'm gonna put the whole sled underneath that and then lift up the blade cover so it goes on top of the fabric, just like that. And then we can start actually cutting. That is a crazy amount of fabric to be cut at one time. That is insane. Just gonna keep on going though. We have a lot of fabric to go. I just wrapped up cutting out all of our outer fabric and our liner fabric, which I have over here on the ironing board. And this is a whole lot of fabric. I don't think the camera does it quite justice, but this is all of the liner fabric and all of the outer fabric for just the size small. Then we have size medium and size large. And over here we have all of the pockets, which I think I'm gonna start with the pockets. And all that we need to do is just sew over the top of the rim so that it's nice and folded over on the top. And then we also need to add the labels and the bows to them. And I mainly want to start with the pockets because personally I just don't like ironing during the day. I don't know what it is. I get so hot and then I just get tired of it and then I want to take a break and then I don't continue it till like 5 hours later. So I'm gonna do something that won't like completely tire me out. I think these pockets should be okay to sew just all in one sitting. And then tonight we'll cut out the pellon and then we'll get to ironing all of the outers, or the outer fabric. And I'm gonna go ahead and just sew these all on my 8700. Number one, the bobbin, I'll know when that runs out because I have a little counter for that. And then number two, I feel like it's just easier with the flat surface to sew everything. So I'm gonna go through and just sew down all the rims of these, make sure that they're nice and flat. And you know, we only have like 200 of these to go, so shouldn't be too bad. I also used to always iron these before I started sewing them, and then I realized that it was kind of just easier to fold them here at the machine and then just put them right under while I have it, like while I'm holding it. Otherwise ironing it takes obviously like 2 times longer. And if I need to iron that pocket specifically because the fabric needs to be ironed, I can just set it aside. But this I just find to be so much easier. And I think that's kind of the name of the game with bulk prepping, is like finding ways to cut down time and increase productivity. Like if you can do that for bulk prepping, that is the best. But anyways, I feel like I don't have anything else to update you guys on. Like I feel like bulk prepping is just a lot of like just going through the motion, like doing the same thing over and over and over again. So it kind of gets boring, I feel like. But hopefully this like gives you something to watch while you're working on your own bulk prep, or like, I don't know, I guess let me know which project you're working on right now, or if you're sewing at all. I think it's always fun to see what viewers are doing, just especially during a video like this, where it's like, I feel like I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over again for like days on end. Like, I don't know. So just let me know, what project are you working on right now? Are you also bulk prepping? I would love to know. Anyways, you guys know where I'll be. I'll be here, all of our pockets, and you know what? I don't think we'll actually be sitting here very long for doing these pockets, because then we'll just move over to the TL for all of the labels and the bows, because I don't like sewing them on this. Just, I don't know, it's too fast. Okay, got all of our pockets sewn up. Here we have size small, size medium, and size large, and I split them into 2 different piles. So we have 2 piles of large, 2 small, 2 medium, whatever. The whole point of that is so that I can just pick up one pile and just sew all just regular labels on those, and then the other pile I can pick up and sew the bows onto them. And I got all of our bow options here. We have dark pink, white, little white, and light pink. And I'm just gonna pick up one of the piles and just get to work. Maybe I'll like make them into 2 piles just to make it a lot easier. But this process is probably gonna take me a long time, so I'm gonna get right to work. I am gonna do it all on my Juki TL just because this is a lot more like slow and precise, and I feel like I can get the label perfect and I know exactly the stitch length. It's just easier for me on the TL basically. So I'm gonna sew them all on the TL, and then after this, hopefully we still have some time tonight to iron on the pellon because I would love to get through that step, at least for day 1. So I'm just gonna get right to it. Let's start sewing on these labels and bows. I can't wait to see how they look because getting to choose between 4 different bows, it like creates such a different feel for the book sleeves. So I'm excited to choose some different bows for all the different book sleeves. I completed all of the bows and all of the labels. The only thing that I need to do now for these is cut off the threads. As you can see, we have threads on all of them. So I need to cut all of those off, but otherwise those are done. And now we need to keep going. We need to cut out the pellon and iron on the pellon to the outer fabric tonight. I think it's about like 6:30, maybe 7. So we have a lot of pellon to cut out, and I got my whole roll here, and I also have another roll if we run out of this one. And I wouldn't even be surprised if we did run out because we have so much pellon to cut out. I did the math, and it's, I don't know like at what point when I was talking earlier this morning, when I was like, oh, this will just be a really easy task, like I'll be able to complete it within a couple days. Like I don't know what part of my calculations led me to believe that this would just be like a couple day project, because right now we're looking at 207 Kindle and book sleeves. And after just one day, I have barely put a dent in our project, like everything that needs to get done for it. So regardless though, I mean, we're coming along good, getting things done. I don't know, I just don't have a lot to update you guys on quite yet. Like, I feel like I've done a lot, but also like not a lot at the same time for just one day. So I'm just gonna continue working on this and just cutting out the pellon for now. And then we'll actually get to ironing everything, because all this like cutting the pellon shouldn't take too long. It is now the next morning. I'm just like exhausted for whatever reason from yesterday. So that only calls for one thing. Coffee. I had to get myself a coffee. I was just gonna say a little coffee. You guys might know me too well, and I was gonna say a little coffee, but this is quite a large coffee. And the reason that I needed this was because we have a long day today. I didn't iron anything last night. As you can tell behind me, I still have that whole stack. And then, oh, let me show you the Pellon. This is crazy. This is our small stack of Pellon for the small fabric. Then we have size medium and size large. That's the plan for today. I need to get everything ironed, and then I would love to start on sewing the liners onto the outer fabric. Then if I still have time, which I probably won't, we can go ahead and get to cutting the threads off of the pockets, because that's gonna have to get done. But today's Friday, and usually over the weekend I like to work on orders and get all the orders done and shipped out on Monday. So I'll probably put off this project for the next 2 days, and then we'll continue it on Monday. So I'm gonna try and get to a good stopping point for today, but we gotta get the ironing done. I mean, there's no way around it. We gotta do it. It just takes so long. But I have a coffee, so motivation, I don't know, a little something to keep me going. It is good though. Okay, I'm gonna turn on the iron. I just have to get to it. This is almost like working out. It's easier once you've actually started. The hardest part is getting started. You know what? This was very satisfying maybe 30 e-reader sleeves ago, but now it's just getting to that tedious point where I'm wait, I think I need a break. But regardless, I'm gonna keep on going because we're almost done with the e-reader sleeves at least. This is how many I've completed so far. Almost the whole stack. I think we have 2 more iron. You know what? I don't even know how to explain that. 2 more of this many. 10. I also realized, you know what? This is my office and I can put my ironing board wherever I want it when I'm using it this frequently. So I moved it out from against the wall so that I have the natural light. Just a lot easier over here. And then I actually have some tables next to me to work off of. So this has been nice, very eye-opening. I should have been doing this the whole time, but oh well. But we're coming along good. We're making good progress this morning. I think it's 10:30 now. So I think we should be on track to get through the whole step that I wanted to get through, adding the liners for today and maybe the pocket, or not adding the pockets, definitely not adding the pockets, but cutting the threads off of them. Otherwise, yeah, I don't think I have much else to update on. This has just been quite the chill morning. I genuinely can't remember where we left off last for this project. It has been only 2 days since I worked on this, but I feel like I've forgotten everything. One thing that I did work on in the meantime was sewing up the small liners to the outers. So I have those all, I don't know if you can see back there, but I have a huge pile of them. They're all back there. And in order to continue, we have the size medium and the size large to go. So I'm gonna sew up those. Today is now Monday and I'm hoping to finish all of these by Wednesday. So we'll see if we can get that done. Yeah, and then we need to snip all the threads because all of these are still sewn together. They're chain stitched, so we need to snip the threads in between each one, and we're gonna have to do the same for size medium and size large, and I have those all over here. So we're gonna go ahead and just continue sewing these up, and I want to show you guys something that I got. I don't know why I'm so nervous, but it's kind of a big change. Look what I got. I finally got them. I got the Air Max AirPods Max, I think is what they're actually called. And let me tell you, these are the most gorgeous pair of headphones I've ever owned. I used to use the Beats. I had the Beats Solo 4, I think, and they just aren't cutting it anymore. The top of my head hurts so bad. My ears hurt so bad. I can still hear my sewing machine even though they're supposed to be like, you know, headphones, like I'm not supposed to hear anything. So I finally just gave in and got the AirPods Max. Number one, they're gorgeous. Number two, I can't hear anything while I'm using them. And number three, I should have gotten these like a year ago. I always do this to myself. I'm like, oh, I'll just put it off. Like I don't really need it right now. And then I get it and I'm like, wait, why did I not do this at the very beginning? I ordered them through Amazon, so I'll link them in my Amazon storefront if you're interested in these exact same ones. I think they're gonna be under like tech. I think that's what I called it in there. I'm gonna start with our size medium. Here's our liners, and I've got all the outers to my left here. All of these pockets right here have all of their threads snipped from the labels and the bows, and that was something that had to get done, and it takes a really long time. So I'm glad that I got that done. I'm so happy that I finally got them. The one downside that I've already noticed is you can't turn them off. So the battery just kind of drains 24/7 and you can't do anything about that. So I'm definitely gonna have to charge these a lot more often than my Beats, but it's worth it. And like, I love the color. The color of them is just gorgeous. And they also have transparency mode, so I can hear everything from outside, or I can turn that off and it goes to like, what's it called? Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but it like completely blocks out all the noise. It's like active noise canceling. That's what it is. Active noise canceling. And once you press that button, it engages that, and then you can't hear anything from the outside. So it's amazing for days like this where I just have a whole ton of sewing and this machine is pretty loud. So I'm just gonna watch some shows and get through sewing the rest of these. These are all of our sleeves here next to me. We have a lot to go, size medium and size large. So I'm just gonna get to work and time lapse this for you guys, and then I'll update you once we start snipping all of the threads. Now the next morning we have size small, medium, and large all cut their threads and all of their outers and liners sewed together. This is a crazy view. Like, what is this? We also just had a couple of threads left over on some of the labels for the pockets, so I snipped those this morning. And now is for the long-awaited pinning process and sewing these actual pieces together. This part takes so incredibly long, trying to like sort through, find two of the same outers and then get one of the pockets and then pin all of that, and then sewing it takes even longer. So that's probably all that we're gonna get through today, is just pinning the two outer sides and the two liners together and adding the pocket in between them. So it is, I think, like 9 o'clock now, so I'm gonna start on that this morning. We'll see how far we get. Hopefully we can like pin at least like half of one of the sizes stacks and then start sewing, because these are all the pins that I have. Like, yes, there's a lot here, but these take a lot of pins. So I'm gonna see how far I can get in just one bucket of pins. We'll kind of go by that time frame, I guess. Or like, I don't know what you call that. It's too early for that. It has been about a week since we last talked. I've had some things come up and I've been working on these like intermittently, but let me give you a full update on the step that I'm on. So these are all the Kindle and book sleeves, and we also have double in the back there. And the step that they're on right now, I just need to add the rim to the top. So I just need to do like the final top stitch around the top on the outside and on the inside. So they'll just be nice and finished, and then the liner won't move outside of the outer, and it just gives a nice clean look to the sleeve. So that is the last step that I need to finish up for all of these sleeves. A little update though on the AirPods Max. These are incredible. Like, unfortunately, I think they're worth the money. I mean, like, that's a good thing after you do buy them, but before you buy them and you're thinking about like, is that really worth all the money? Yes, unfortunately, because they are so expensive. I am excited though to get these finished up and finally feel like I'm getting somewhere with bulk prepping for Junkstock, because I think we've only done Colorblock bags and Kindle sleeves now, or e-reader sleeves. So we still have a lot of bulk prep to go, and this will just be one big step done for bulk prepping. For this top stitch, I always like to do it on my Juki TL because I think my Juki 8700 is a little too quick for this step. Like, I kind of like to just take it slow and add that top stitch just really carefully and precisely. So I'm just gonna do it on my TL here. But yeah, overall, these have come together pretty quick. Like, if I think about the total time that I've spent bulk prepping, they're coming along pretty good, and this is how they'll look at the very end, just with that nice clean top stitch at the top there all the way around. And we'll just have to snip these threads at the very end there. We'll just have to snip the threads on all of the Kindle sleeves, but otherwise then they're done. So I'm gonna see how many I can get done this morning. I still have some orders to make today, so I'll be focusing mainly on those, but I'd like to get a good start on these top stitches. Now, almost 2 weeks later, I finished all of our e-reader and book sleeves. We have size large, size medium, and size small. So as you can tell, we go down in quantity as we go up in size. And I also did half and half for the bows. So I did 2 small with no bow, 2 small with a bow, and then one with a bow and 2 without a bow for medium, and then half and half for the size large, 1 with a bow, 1 without a bow. I'm so happy to have them done. These are one of my top sellers at market that I feel like I don't talk about as much, but people really enjoy them, and it's something that they don't realize that they really need until they have it. And I've also had people return and they get one for their Kindle, and then they come back and then they get one for their book. So it's always fun to see which ones people like. And as these are a top seller at Junkstock, I try and have so many available for you guys, and it's always so satisfying to have that nice stack of brand new book sleeves. We're now moving into March and our brand new satin scrunchies. We need a whole bunch of these for Junkstock because I've never made them before. So let's get to bulk prepping them. It is currently, 8:05 in the morning, and I want to get started right away this morning because we have a lot to do. And I think I say that every time, but we actually do have a lot to do. I started sewing up some brand new satin scrunchies that I think you guys are just gonna love. Like, these are gonna be 10 times better than the cotton scrunchies that I already sell. So I think these are gonna sell like hotcakes, not only online, but then also in person at my markets. Like, this material is how this one used to be. Like, they are almost the exact same. I love, love, love this fabric, and it's like very, very shiny. It's just gorgeous. But we have a gorgeous satin pink for one of the scrunchies as well. And of course, we had to have a gorgeous green, so I chose out like a very nice sage emerald green. Then we have a beautiful periwinkle blue. And last but not least, we have this really, really dark emerald forest green, which I haven't even sewn into the next steps like these ones. But that is all the scrunchies that I have in here that we're gonna be sewing up today, and essentially bulk prepping for market, and also just creating these satin scrunchies to get on my website because I don't have them on there yet. I'm so excited for these, and maybe in like my previous videos you could have seen this whole basket sitting underneath this table that you guys are sitting on. It has been down there for a while now. Like my blue scrunchie has been out for a long time now, and I'm like, I just need to finally bring out that bin and make some scrunchies. So we're just gonna get right into sewing up these scrunchies. I remember from last time when I got all the way through this one, I needed my walking foot for this because that satin is like very slippery. So if your two layers are not moving at the exact same time, why was I just trying to get in my bobbin case? It's too early. But if your satin is moving at two different like speeds, not speeds, but like it's not feeding evenly, your scrunchie is gonna be just kind of messed up, to say the least. So I'm gonna use my walking foot, and this is gonna feed our fabric, the top fabric and the bottom fabric, evenly through that stitch. So it'll be nice and crisp by the end of that stitch, and no extra fabric will be left over. So let me just put this walking foot on. I know for my cotton fabric, I didn't use a walking foot just because it just wasn't really necessary. Like the cotton fabric feeds very evenly if it is just two pieces of fabric, but once you get into like two satin or like two slippery fabrics, it's a lot harder to make it feed even. I'm gonna be sewing this on my Juki TL. This is the TL 2010Q. You can also just use like any machine. Honestly, I don't know what I was gonna say there. You can use any machine for this. This is not like, you don't need a certain machine to sew scrunchies. I mean, I could do it on my domestic brother sewing machine too. I just prefer this one. And because it comes with the walking foot, which is really nice. I think we've got everything here that we need to get started. We have our labels, which I just put in this like marble bin because I didn't know what to do with it. So I have those laying here. Let me show you them. This is the label that I hand make for all of my scrunchies. I also make it for, like pattern weights. I'm trying to think of my other products that I use it for. That's about it. Scrunchies, pattern weights. Yeah, not too many, but they are a label that you fold over. So you just fold this in half, and then this will go right sides into the fabric, and then you're gonna stitch over this middle part that's like not really saying any words or anything. And then once you flip it right side out, this will be on the outside, and you'll have it on both sides printed. These took me so incredibly long to figure out. I don't know why, because they're pretty much the same as just my regular fabric labels, just folded. I don't have that many here, but if we need some more, we can always cut some more because I have some made already. We just need to cut them out. But the other problem for today is these were all cut on my Cricut. If you guys remember, like I bought a Cricut over the summer of 2025, and I tried every single way. Like I'm not kidding, for 3 days straight, I tried every single way of cutting my labels on the Cricut. And let me just give you an idea of how they look. Hopefully I didn't throw all of the bad ones away. I think I might have. Okay, I think I threw all the bad ones away. Okay, here's a good example. So it would go along and it would cut out all of the extra slices, like all the little pieces that are like this big, right? Like all the edges that just don't need to be there because I put little dotted lines, just makes everything easier. I know the exact size. And then by the end of it, once I'd peel everything off, they would look like this. Two completely different sizes. One, the lettering is almost getting cut off, like, and then the other one has like way too much margin on the sides. It was a mess, and some of them completely cut off the top edge. I don't even know, like this one I can't even use, so I'll toss this one because it cut off the lettering and then it has too much on the other side. It was like a mess. And granted, I do have some that I can use, but I think from this point forward, I'm just gonna cut them on my own, because especially with my regular labels, these ones, it would just like cut every which way. It would do everything but cut the label out. It sometimes like sliced it straight in half, and I was like, I'm done. I'm literally done. I would turn the thing off and walk out. All that to say, if you know how to like program the Cricut to cut like that, let me know. Because I think the margin of error on the Cricut is just too large to be able to cut out labels that are that tiny. I think I looked it up and it was like a crazy, crazy margin. Okay, now to actually sewing our scrunchies. I'm gonna move down our stitch length to about a 2 millimeter, and that is to ensure that we get really, really tiny stitches, kind of like what I've already sewn here on the top edge there. This is just connecting the two pieces or the two sides of the scrunchie, and as you can see, super, super tiny stitches, and that is what we want for a fabric like this. The method I'm gonna be using for these scrunchies is called the burrito method, and this is how they turn out, like little burritos. I don't know. I think it's more so when you're sewing it, it looks like a burrito. So let's get this first one under the machine and stitch it up. So I've got my walking foot on here, and now I'm just gonna fold over our fabric so that we can fit it nice under the machine with the burrito method. See, this is like kind of confusing. If you're interested in the burrito method, go ahead and look it up, because I don't think I'm gonna be able to explain it very well. And now you go ahead and just start sewing. And I'm gonna leave a pretty big seam allowance on this. Back stitching at the beginning, and then from here it's pretty easy. I just go along and just keep stitching and just making sure not to catch that inner part. If you've also done the burrito method, you know how hard that can be, especially with a small scrunchie. And that's why I like to do a lot of extra fabric. And now this is the fun part, being able to like pull through that burrito and just keep going. Now about this part, I'll add our label. So here's our little label that we're gonna add in, and I'm gonna fold this over on itself just like that. So we have a little folded label that's labeled on both sides with Xoxo Charley. And now I'm gonna stick this in the scrunchie right side in, if that makes sense, and just get it as close as I can to that stitch that we're on currently, because then we won't have to worry about like keeping it in place. And then once you've got like a couple stitches over it, you can just readjust. And there we go, now the label's in. You can add the label at any point, but I find that that just makes it a lot easier if I can do it at this stage, because it's like already being stitched and I can just add it into the scrunchie there. And just keep on going, keep pulling the scrunchie through. And now let me show you here. So now once I've gotten to this point, I've noticed with the satin scrunchies, I know that I'm on if these two line up perfectly, because we're folding these on top of each other. As you can see, this is our extra on the inside, and then this is what we're stitching over. And if these two seams line up, I know we're doing pretty good. So they line up very, very well. It's just little things like that that I watch for now, especially with trying to advance my sewing skills and just trying to be more precise and more exact with each measurement. It's things like that that's like, okay, I am on track, keep the same stitch length, keep the walking foot, like we're doing good here. And we are almost to the end of this burrito. As you can tell, it gets a little confusing here. I remember the first time that I made one of these burrito scrunchies, I was like, I don't even know what I'm stitching. It's a mess. And I'm gonna make this hole as small as possible, but still able to get all that scrunchie through. And this is how our burrito turned out. Very, very easy. And this is what I'm gonna be doing for this whole bin. But now at this point, you just pull the whole scrunchie through. Honestly, like, when that blue scrunchie broke, I thought about just coming here and making a scrunchie for myself, because they're this quick to assemble and you can do it all here at the machine. So then we have what I showed you guys earlier, this like long loop of a scrunchie that still needs the elastic. And we can find our label. And you know what, since these have been out for so long, they've started to fray. So that's gonna be a hard part about these, is cutting off all of these extra frays. But here's how our label turned out. So cute. And I think once it's actually a scrunchie, I think it looks a lot better and it's not so like in your face out on the scrunchie, but so cute. And I think these are gonna be perfect at market. And honestly, it's gonna be hard not to keep all of them, because you know me and my scrunchies, I love them. Right now I'm using a hair claw clip because my hair is still drying, but I love scrunchies. I'm so excited. Okay, let's make a whole bunch of these loops out of all of these. We have so many to go. So I'm gonna pull out the ones that we already have looped or like sewn into the loops, and I'm gonna set them over here, and we will just keep on going, sewing up all of these scrunchies. Oh, I should also mention, I think, you know what, actually, I'm not gonna say that because I don't know what size these are yet. I would have to measure these because I think we have different sizes in here. So by the end of this, we'll be able to figure out which is which, but I think these are the size, I wanna say size medium. I think that's what I did for all of the satin scrunchies, but I'm just not 100% sure, because I did size small, medium, and large when I first did the templates for the scrunchies. And I think I figured out size medium is just the best for cutting off of the bolt and is also just the best size, like a very universal size. So let's just get right down to it. Let's sew up some scrunchies together, and I will update you once we're like halfway through this bin. Or I guess when we run out of labels, that's probably gonna be our next thing that we need to do. One thing about these scrunchies is they're probably the worst product to run out of your bobbin while you're sewing. This one, I completely ran out. Now I have to like somehow like reverse. Oh, here we go. I gotta like reverse the burrito back where it was. Oh, okay, this is actually working. There. And then I can start off where I was sewing just right here and just keep on going. But these are really the worst thing. Like you get to the very end and then you thread cut and then you're like, wait, where's my scrunchie? It just looks like fabric. But we're coming along good. This is how many I've done. So it's taken me quite a while to do all these. And in the bin, I found a large one, which I'm really glad that I cut out a size large. I think we'll probably have a couple of each size large, at least one of each color, so we can still list them. But this is gonna be so cute. Like imagine this, but with more scrunch, like more fabric to it. And then it'll be so cute. I'm so excited. But little scrunchie update. This is how many we have to go. Still a whole bunch. But I'm slowly making my way. It's not like we have to finish all of these today. We can also work on them tomorrow. I'm trying to be more like lenient with my work progress recently. Just like I don't have to work sun up to sundown every single day like I normally have been for over a year now, and just like allow myself to take like a little break. I know it sounds crazy, but as a handmade small business owner myself, doing everything in the business, it is so hard to like take a step back when I know that there's things to do. But over the last year, like there's always been something to do. There's always another thing to do when you're running your small business. So if you don't specifically allocate that time for yourself, it's really hard to find just a good stopping point and just relax for the rest of the day. And so I'm trying to like mentally change that. Like I can get through as many as I can for today. It's not like I have to get through this whole bin and then get all the elastic on and then sew them up and finish them. I'm just trying to like be more mindful of my work day and like how much work-life balance I have, because that has never been a thing for me for as long as I can remember doing Xoxo Charley. But I'm really trying to work on that. And if you're also trying to work on that, maybe comment down below, say, you know, like what has helped you? Are you like setting an alarm like when you're done with work? Are you just like planning to get through something and then you're done with work? It's so hard to know because obviously I love what I do and it doesn't feel like work, but there's just always something to be worked on or improved or marketed or photographed or sewn. It's just, there's always something. And so it kind of can become like personal life, and it's just hard to find that balance. Anyways, all that to say, like we might get through this bin. I think we will, honestly. I think we'll get through this bin for today. And then hopefully like tonight when I'm just winding down, I can put in all the elastic through the scrunchies and then we'll sew those first thing tomorrow morning. Or we might get through that today. I don't know. It's just really hard to find that like stopping point for the day and just like go for a walk or read my book or just like lay down and just like not think about anything for 10 minutes. But I think it's definitely something that I need to change going forward in order to like continue to progress in my business and in my personal life and just make both a priority, because it is extremely hard to as a small business owner. I hope you guys can relate, because it is, I don't think, a very common thing, but I'm sure if you also own a small business, and especially if you're also a handmade small business, you understand the struggle. It is hard. And like with outside commitments as well, like trying to prioritize that, but then also your business and scaling it, and just, this is the things they don't teach you. Like you really just have to live and learn when you're in this position. It's really hard. But one thing that I saw the other day that really helps my mindset on days like this is like what a blessing it is to have such a great problem. And let me explain that. She said, I saw it on like an Instagram reel, and she was like, I'm so stressed about having so many orders to make and then so many orders to pack, but what an incredible problem to have as a small business owner. Like you will get stressed and you will be overwhelmed and you'll feel like there's just not enough hours in the day, but what an incredible opportunity and great problem to have that you are so successful and you have so many orders and you have so much work to do and so much demand for your handmade products that you feel that way. Like obviously no one wants to feel that way, and that's not what I'm saying, but it's a great problem to have, and it's better than the alternative, which is your products aren't selling or you just launched something and not a single one has sold. Like, I have been there, and it's frustrating, and it's very hard to keep going when that happens. And I just have to remind myself, like, changing that mindset of like how incredible this problem is to have, that I have so many scrunchies to make and I'm able to purchase all of this fabric and experiment and have fun and do this as my full-time job. Anyways, just a little peek into my mind on days like this. It's like how wonderful it is to have such an overwhelming schedule and have so much work to do, and just what an incredible problem to have, because there are other problems that would be much worse. A couple notes on these scrunchies now that I'm sewing them a couple times is on this portion of the scrunchie, when we sew the edges together right here going up and down, that's the first sewn part of the scrunchie. And so when I'm sewing those two together, I'm definitely making sure to backstitch right here. I do this on a lot of my different products where I have seams lining up, just so that there's a stronger stitch there, because that's gonna be a point where there's a lot of fabric and a lot more than the rest of the scrunchie. So I think those seams will have a lot more pressure on them, or I guess tension, and could be more prone to breaking. But throughout all of my products, there's at least like a couple spots in each of them where I do that, just to reinforce the stitch and make sure nothing comes unraveled. Especially for something like a scrunchie, when it's gonna be up in your hair all day, you definitely want a tight stitch and something that won't come out. Also, a little label check. We are still doing really good. We have a lot left here. I am kind of like digging through them though, because some of them are still just a little like, just not up to my standard of what I want for these. So it's like either I have to cut a little bit or I have to fully throw the label away because part of it is chopped off, but we shouldn't have to cut out any yet. Okay, let's get back to bulk sewing these. All right, I have completed, I think, well over half of our scrunchies. Those are all over there. And then I was like, you know what, why don't I just try using the regular foot on the Juki TL and see how that works? Because I was getting to the end of our stitch line using the burrito method, and by the end of it, the top had scrunched, like the walking foot was not walking. I don't know what was going on, but it was not working. So I decided, if that's not working and it's such a big foot and it's hard to like fit all of the fabric underneath it anyways, why not just use the regular foot? So I tried that. Instantly worked 10 times better. I don't know why, but I figured if the regular foot works, why would I not just use the 8700, because it's quicker and it has the automatic thread cutter with the foot lift. Like, it's just a lot easier if I'm gonna use the regular foot to use the 8700. So that's what I'm gonna do. I already tried one out with 8700 and it worked perfect. And this stitch is just like butter compared to the TL. I don't know how to explain it, but if you used a sewing machine long enough, you kind of understand how it sounds, and like, I just love this machine. So anytime that I can use it, I'm going to. So I brought over the rest that we have to do, which is not very many at all. This is what we have left, barely any, honestly. Like, I could have just kept them over there, but might as well use the 8700. And then we can start adding the elastic. It is 1:41, so we should be wrapping these up here within the next hour, and then we'll add elastic. And I think, label check, we are good to go. We still have plenty left in our bin, so we actually won't need to cut anymore. So let's quickly sew up the rest of these. I've now made it through sewing all of these scrunchies through the burrito method, and we have so many here. I didn't expect this many to be in that bin, but here we are. And we did not have to cut any labels. We still have a couple left in here, so that's good. Now is for one of the most frustrating parts, and that is adding the elastic into the scrunchie. This hopefully is enough elastic so I don't have to cut any more, but all I do is I use a certain tool to help me, because I know there's like a lot of ways to use a safety pin or just like other tools, but this is the one that I use. It's linked in my Amazon storefront, but all this does is it squishes down, and then this bottom part, you can like make it fully close and stay clamped. So I clamp this onto the end of the elastic. So just clamp it down. So then it looks like this. And then I go through the hole that I left in this scrunchie with the non-elastic part of that tool and just feed it through until the end is almost into the scrunchie. And then I hold on to that end and then just keep on feeding into the scrunchie until it reaches the other side. And this is just honestly not too bad. Like, I feel like it's one of those things where it's hard to get started, and then once you're actually started, it's really easy. But then just fully feed that through the whole elastic, and the tool just makes it really easy to go through the scrunchie. And then once I have it to the other side, I'll just take off that clamp, and then I have both sides of the elastic, and you can just really pull that tight, and then I just add a clip on there, because we need to sew that. So that's the step that we need to do for all of these scrunchies. Like seriously, there are so many here. I think I should count them. Maybe we'll count them at the very end. So I'm just gonna put on a video, get to doing this, because it's just very tedious, but it's honestly kind of satisfying. But seriously, if you make scrunchies as well, or you feed anything through like a really tight space, even like making straps or feeding any kind of like elastic or band or anything through something, you need this tool. It is amazing. I'll also link it down in the description just so that it's easier for you guys. Okay, now let's actually get to work. Okay, next time I do this many scrunchies, I'm definitely gonna break it up into like different days, because my hand hurts so bad from this feeding this little tool through all of those scrunchies. But they're all done here. I mean, not done, but I fed all the elastic through the scrunchies, and now they're ready to be sewn up. So I'm just gonna do a stitch to close that elastic, and then we are on to finishing up the scrunchie. And they're just so cute. There's so many of them. I can't wait to count them. And for this step, I think I'm just gonna do it here on 8700. I think that that'll just be easier in the long run since we have the automatic thread cutter. So I'll just take the scrunchie and put it under the machine again with like a 2mm stitch. Okay, maybe we shouldn't do it at this machine. I mean, I kind of thought we could, but you know what? Actually, I think we should be fine. Yeah, let's just do all of them here at the machine. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. I can't wait to sew up the holes and for them to be finished, because these are just gorgeous. I don't think this part should take too long. I mean, this step doesn't take that long. It's just sewing, like a couple stitches. But we might have to actually do this at the TL, because this presser foot is just gonna squish my finger every time. done with sewing the elastic. Little time check, it is now 6:45. And here's how the pile of scrunchies are looking. We've got a lot here and we still got one more step to go. And that is selecting our thread to match the specific scrunchie and then sewing the hole, which I pinned the hole as we were sewing the elastic so that I didn't lose the hole. I just knew that I would, and then this would take 10 times longer. So we need to pick out our matching thread. We also might have to go buy some thread because I don't think I have matching thread for like any of these. Yeah, this purple we're gonna have to buy one. This pink we might actually have. Let's try this. Is this like close at all? This is a very like bubblegum pink, but I think this kind of ballet slipper pink could work. I mean, like if I'm going to the store anyways, I might as well just buy one that matches. Well, actually, you know what? I think this looks pretty good, right? Like, I think that matches. It's a little light. Okay, I'll just bring it to the store. Honestly, why don't I just like go to the store and shop for all of these? Moving along, we have blue, which I might have. What about this? Oh, this is my really nice thread though. Yeah, good thing it doesn't match. What about this one? It's so hard. Like thread doesn't always match perfect, but I want it to be as close as possible. Like, is this good? I feel like that matches. I think it's mainly hard because this is satin fabric and this is polyester thread, which I looked it up. You're supposed to use 100% polyester thread, yeah, for this satin fabric, or at least you can. I don't know. I feel like there's so many different opinions there, but let's try this one. Oh, this looks too dark. Yeah, too dark. Okay, I guess we have to shop for this one too. We have green. Let's try this. Nope. This one? Nope. Okay, we're gonna shop for that one too. And now dark green we definitely don't have. Okay, so basically we can't even pick out thread because we need to buy for all of these. So let's just run to the store really quick and grab some matching thread. All right, that was easy enough. I got all of our thread here and they all match the scrunchies so perfect. I couldn't believe I found like the exact same color. So now I've just got to fill some bobbins for these and we can go ahead and sew up the holes in these scrunchies. This morning, I just wrapped up sewing the holes in all of these scrunchies. So here are all of the scrunchies that we bulk prepped. Now I'm just gonna go through and cut off all of the extra threads on them just from those holes that we sewed up. And let me just show you really quick how amazing the thread colors are. And for this step, this might take a while because I'm gonna go through each part of the scrunchie just to make sure that there aren't any frays coming like outside of the scrunchie since it was kind of fraying when we were sewing it, but this one looks good. Okay, let me show you. Look how amazing that is. And that is like every single one. They match so perfect. I cannot believe how well they match. But this is one of the complete scrunchies. This is the light pink. Let's actually try it out because I want to keep one of these. Let's just do like an easy pony. Oh my gosh, automatically it feels like my other scrunchie that I have, but like so much better. How does it look? Hopefully you can actually see. But this is the pink scrunchie, just in a regular ponytail. And I feel like this is not gonna come out. Like I could even do a bun with this scrunchie and it would be the perfect You know how sometimes you have to like triple wrap it, or like it's too tight so then you can't get another loop? Like, this feels good. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. But it feels so premium and so much better than the cotton scrunchies that I sell, honestly. Like, I'll be so honest. I just think this material is 10 times better for your hair. So I'm glad that I finally came out with little satin scrunchies. So let me wrap up cutting all the threads off of these, and then let's count how many scrunchies we actually bulk prepped in this video. Because this is only day 2 of the process, and I'm honestly really surprised at how far we've gotten. So I'll probably see you tomorrow morning or later tonight with the final result. All of our scrunchies are now complete, and in this bin I counted we have a total of 76 scrunchies. And that does not include the 3 that I messed up on doing the burrito method, so I'll fix those, plus the size large, so this will technically be 77. And I kept this out because I wanted to show you guys how it turned out. This was the only size large that I ended up having in this batch. But I think people are gonna love this. Like, people prefer the size large in the cotton scrunchies that I already sell, so I think that these ones will go like hotcakes. So I'll be sure to make these in every single color. And also I ordered some more satin fabrics, some like different colors, and I'm so excited for those to come in so that I have a lot of different colors for you guys to choose from. So you guys can expect those soon as well. But 77 scrunchies, and then, oh, I kept 2 for myself as well. It was like the pink one that I tried on, and then one I accidentally messed up cutting the threads. I like cut part of the scrunchie, so I'm gonna keep that one too. But now all of these gorgeous scrunchies are available on my website, and I'm so excited to have a full dig bin at market as well. Looking back on spring Junkstock, these scrunchies did not do as well as I expected. People actually preferred the cotton scrunchies. So going forward for fall, I think I definitely need to bulk prep some more of the cotton ones because I really don't have a lot left, but I do have a lot of the satin ones left. It is interesting how I can think like one product is gonna do so well, but then ends up being an old product that actually outsells it. But we're moving into a quicker bulk prep. I just did a 48 hours of sewing, and this will be for our laptop sleeves. I don't typically take a lot of these to Junkstock, but I do like to take at least one of every pattern, so that's minimum 23, or if I'm doing for both sizes, that's 46. So let's see just how a weekend of bulk prepping looks. Recently, for the last week, I've been wrapping up so many projects just off camera, trying to clean things up in my office. I've had so much stuff just laying around. I mean, as you can see on my ironing board here, I have a lot of stuff. I mean, it's just kind of like you start a project and then you get halfway through and then something else comes up and you have to put it aside. And I've done that for a full year now. So I've had so many random projects and I still have a lot to go. But this weekend I have a project that's probably gonna take me 48 hours all weekend, and I wanna bring you guys along with me. And that is this whole stack of fabric. It doesn't look like too much, but I think once we get down into it, it's gonna turn into a lot of work. And these I thankfully labeled, they're the 13-inch laptop sleeves. So I put that on there when I was like wrapping up the project. And I actually think when I was bulk prepping laptop sleeves for fall Junkstock, I had too many of the 13-inch to complete in 1 week. So I ended up splitting it in half and putting this other half aside. So that's what we have now, which means, thankfully for us, we also have all of the liners cut out already, all of the exact number of liners for all those outer fabrics. So that means we've kind of landed in the perfect position to have all of our fabric already cut out on the batting and ready to be quilted. So this project is, well, I'm not gonna say it's not gonna take very long because laptop sleeves do take a little bit of time, but I think we have a great head start with having all of the fabric cut out and all the liners and all batting already in its own pile. So first thing we're gonna start is quilting all of these on my 8700. So I'm not gonna waste any time. Let's just get right into it. All right, that was pretty quick for quilting this little stack. Now we can go ahead and start cutting out all of these fabrics into their individual pieces for the laptop sleeves. Okay, wait, I was just looking at the stack and I'm missing some fabrics out of here. Like, this is definitely not all 23. So I was looking at my stack down here and comparing, and sure enough, we're missing about 8 fabrics out of here. And that honestly shouldn't surprise me since these were from so long ago. I feel like it's pretty new for me to have 23 different fabrics at all times. So let's go ahead and leave this quilted stack here and let's cut out those 8 fabrics and get those quilted as well. And I think I'm also gonna have to cut out the liner fabrics as well. Okay, and I also forgot about these. That makes it 10. Okay, that was not too bad. Honestly, like when I first looked at that stack, I was like, this is not enough fabric at all to be bulk prepping enough laptop sleeves for Junkstock. And I was right, because these are all the ones that were left out. So it's about, actually, I would say a little over half, but I think it's 10 fabrics, so it's a little under half. So let's quilt these up. Then we can do our next step, which is cutting them into their individual pieces. All right, this stack of fabric is a little more like it for our bulk prep videos. So now I'm gonna get right to cutting these all out into their individual pieces for the laptop sleeves. And I also wanted to mention we're only doing 13-inch laptop sleeves because a lot of the other sizes aren't that common for my laptop sleeves online and at market. Like, a lot of people have a 13-inch laptop, whether it's like a MacBook or a Dell or any other computer. Usually they're a 13-inch. So that's just what I stick to for my markets, just to make it a lot easier, because online I do have 4 different sizes. I have tablet, 13, 14, and 15. And that just gets to be way too much to have at the market and to bulk prep. So I just make it easier by just doing one size. Or I guess I do have 15-inch there, but I'm not gonna bulk prep them right now. I think I need to see how much I have first, and then we can kind of decide from there. But I do remember from fall Junkstock, the colorful picnic was by far the most popular. Those sold out like the first day. And since I just don't have that many, I mean, they're kind of easy for them to sell out, because I usually just put everything out for these laptop sleeves, and then whatever goes, goes, and then whatever sells, sells, and whatever doesn't, I just move to be for the next market. But I'm also excited to now have all of these available online. A lot of these colors I didn't have online previously, so I'm definitely gonna make sure to get those up before this video's up as well. But before, I had like a very condensed version of the laptop sleeves. Like, they were only available in one listing and you had to like select the size and the color in one listing. It was kind of confusing, so I'm excited to put them all separate on the website. I also did get our liners cut out for those extra fabrics that we did, and so that'll make things go a lot smoother when we're pinning these all. I always do get just a little nervous with cutting all of these out, because they are a product that like you're purchasing for something else in a way, if that makes sense. I don't know, like a laptop sleeve you're purchasing for your laptop, and so it has to fit perfect and it has to be sized just right. And these pieces of fabric that I cut out are so close to the margin that I need, or like so close to the size that I need, because the margins are just so small because of how they're cut out with the fabric. So this part is like always a little stressful, seeing if they actually line up and work for the size that I need. But so far these are all coming along good. I'm a little over halfway through this stack. This is how much that I've done, just for a little, what is that? I picked up the corner off the edge, or the little rubber edge thing off the corner of my table here. I don't know where that came off, but this is how many I've done. This is like probably half, I would say. Anyways, what I was gonna tell you is this is like the most frustrated I've been cutting out fabric. Just after quilting the fabric, it kind of squishes down, so you kind of have to account for that when you're quilting, or like cutting out your fabric before you start quilting. And more specifically, it really squishes in the way that is opposite to the direction that you're quilting. So if you're doing crosshatch, it's gonna squish in both directions. But if you're just doing vertical lines, it really only squishes horizontally. In fact, vertically it almost keeps, or maybe even lengthens the fabric. I know that doesn't seem like, it stays the same pretty much. And for this fabric, the way that I cut it out, I only left myself a 1/2 inch margin on the horizontal cut. So basically I have like no fabric to work with. I'll show you how small the margin is. And you know, this might actually be normal for some people, but for me, this is so tiny. Like only about 1/4 inch to work with for a margin is crazy. Especially if I'm trying to cut multiple at one time, like even squishing it down doesn't do anything. And if I move it to this side, this is how much that I have to work with the other side. It's just like barely anything, and it gets so frustrating because if you cut it any which way wrong, the whole thing is kind of messed up. Like if I do the vertical a little slightly rotated, then the other measurement isn't gonna work out. I don't know. Basically, it has just been a very long process, but we are slowly making it there. I know we're into the fabric that we started with this morning, so I've gotten through our 10 fabrics that we had to cut out the second round. So I'm slowly making my way along and getting this all cut out. And you know, I was actually thinking I should have looked at how much laptop sleeve inventory we have to start with, because we still do have laptop sleeves from fall Junkstock. I haven't really looked to see how many we have so that I know how many we should make. I'm just kind of making 2 of each, mainly because that was already what was cut out and I don't see us selling more than that. While we're here, I might as well mention, because I get a lot of questions while I'm doing these sewing videos about the materials that I use and like the tools. So the mat that I'm using here is from Fiskars. You can get a mat anywhere. I mean, it's not really specific to one brand that I like, but I've just always used the Fiskars ones because they have a warranty on them. And I have had to use that warranty before. And this is now my replacement one. And I get the 36-inch one. You could also do a smaller one if you like work with smaller items or just kind of sew on occasion, but you still want a cutting mat. But I have this one linked in my Amazon storefront if you're interested in getting the same one as me. And then for my rotary cutter and my clear ruler, I also use Fiskars. They've just got a lot of great stuff to choose from. And I think I just bought it all at once, honestly. For the table that I'm using, like that my whole board and everything is on, this white table is, I think it's almost 7 feet. Like it's 6 inches or 6 feet and something inches. It's almost 7 feet though. And I love it because I can fit everything on it sideways wise, but then also the depth is incredible. Like all of these shelves are sitting on the back of the table, but then I still have plenty of space to work with out front. So this exact table is linked in my Amazon storefront as well. And I have 2. I have like my office desk, and then I have like the cutting table. They're also great in an office this size because I can use a lot of the storage underneath, like for my bolts, and I fit all my batting under there and my extra fabric. It's kind of like a 2-in-1. Like I can store stuff on top and below and work off of it. So I guess 3-in-1. But yeah, I get a lot of questions about that table, so highly recommend it. And like I've never had it break on me. It is very, very nice. As for these shelves, I get so many questions. So these shelves are linked in my Amazon storefront. I got them from Amazon, and they come in little tiny pieces, so you can choose how tall the shelf actually is. And it comes in a 10-tier shelf. That's the one that I got. And you can actually stack it higher than 10 if you want. So you can make it like 15 little shelves, or you can make it 20 shelves, however high you want it to go. Or you can make it shorter like I did on my table here. And then on those shelves, I have little storage bins that I keep all of my cuts of fabric in. So if I cut something out and then I have extra of that cut, I store it in these bins. And all of these bins I got from Amazon as well. So those are also linked on there. I know, a lot of like Amazon links, and I'll be sure to put everything down in the description just so that it's easier for you guys. But yeah, I could not recommend all of these tools more. I think they just increase my speed and time that it takes for me to make something, just because everything is organized, it's all in its place, and I can just do everything from this one table. Beyond that, I'm sure we'll have more tools later on that I can talk about, but that's about all for like cutting the fabric out. So I'm gonna wrap up the little bit that we have left here. Actually, we kind of have quite a bit, and then we will get into adding the labels and our first liner and zipper, and hopefully that's what we can get through for today. All right, I've got everything pinned here. We have the 2 pieces of outer fabric and 1 liner. And then I also added the zipper to one. And I didn't pin on the labels because I have those all here at my sewing machine. So I figure I'll just go ahead and add them on while I'm sitting here. That step just doesn't take very long in general. So I'm like, why not just add it here at the machine? I mean, the laptop sleeves are like very straightforward for where the label goes. It's just the bottom right. So while I'm sitting here, I'll just put this outer fabric under the machine, add the label on to where I want on it and then just start sewing. And this will just be so much quicker than if I were to pin everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this whole stack of fabric and see how far we can get tonight. I might not finish all of these tonight, and I think that'll be just fine to still wrap these up tomorrow, but I'm gonna see how far I can get regardless. Good morning. We're now on to day 2 of sewing up these laptop sleeves. I finished up our other step yesterday, so this is our full stack here. It's so satisfying to see all these. And we now have all day to finish up all of these laptop sleeves. And I think we should be able to do that. So now I'm gonna go ahead and pin the other liner onto these, because right now we have one liner, a zipper, and then the other one has the label on it. I'm gonna work through these 2 piles that I have here next to me, and then we will be on to our last pinning step for these, which is crazy. I can't believe that we're almost already there. So let's just get down to work. This will not take us very long. Now, a while later and a lot of pins, I have all of the product pinned here and ready to be sewn for their last step. I guess we still have to sew the hole in the liner, but like this is kind of the last step of sewing the whole bag. But before I actually sew them, I need to fill all these bobbins. As you can see, I have a lot of empty ones here. I got some more because for every single spool that I have, I keep a bobbin of that thread so that I don't have to like refill any of them, unless of course they run out. So I had to get some more of just my regular bobbins from my white thread, and I just need to fill these up first because this step takes a lot of thread. It's a lot of sewing just for one step. So I'm not gonna waste any time. It's almost like 1 o'clock now, so we are doing so good on time, and I'm just gonna get right to work starting sewing these up. I've now moved into our next step, which is just sewing up the holes of the liners. I did flip them all. So these are all the ones that I have left, and these are all the sleeves that I've already sewn. But I want to show you something so satisfying about this machine. And one of the main reasons that I sew the holes on the liners of this machine is not only does it have the forward and backward stitch automatic when I start sewing, but then it also puts down the foot for me, and then it also cuts the thread, and then it lifts the foot at the end. And I control that all just with my foot. And even more than that, it is a perfect guide for sewing holes of liners. So let me show you. So I'm going to start this just like normal. I'm going to put this underneath the foot, and right away it'll forward and back stitch. So it'll lock that stitch, and then I'm just going to fix the hole here, just make sure that all the fabric is good to go. And then these are perfectly on top of each other, so I can just sew right along, and that foot almost keeps that right in place. And I'll show you from the top here. You can see there, it is like perfectly lined up with the right side of the foot as I'm sewing along, and it is just perfect. It keeps just the right amount of margin for the hole there. And then at the end, it locks the stitch and then lifts the foot. And then this foot will stay lifted for like a minute or two so that I can get the next piece under and start sewing. But look at just how perfect that stitch is, just right along the edge there. That is exactly what I want for sewing the hole of the liner. And then from there, all I have to do is cut the threads and put this liner into the laptop sleeve, and then we have a fully complete laptop sleeve. And if you're interested, this specific machine is the Juki DDL 8700-7, and they have many different kinds. So you can get like a heavy duty one, or this one is just made for lightweight fabrics like cottons or quilting fabric, just not like heavy duty canvas or leather or anything like that. But they do make one for that. But it's interesting how I used to do almost everything on the TL except for quilting. I would do a lot of that on here. Well, almost all of it I do exclusively on this machine because it's a lot quicker and just easier. But since I've kind of learned more about this machine, I am really gravitating towards it for like more normal parts of the bag making process. Aside from sewing over zippers, I do not do that on here. But things like this where I can just easily sew along and just do one straight line, and especially have the foot that's a nice guide for the margin. That foot is also a good guide, but I feel like it goes off more. Like this one will stay on that exact line that I want it to stay on. So I prefer this one for things like this, but of course I always use the TL for other smaller, more intricate parts of bag making, or making like Kindle sleeves or things like that, or like sewing a round product, if that makes sense, like a fabric bowl or a tote bag. I'll do that over on the TL because it's not flat with the machine. There's like, I can take off the extension table and have it be round around the machine, if that makes sense. So there's definitely benefits to both, and I actually recently did do a video on like all the different sewing machines that I have and why I purchased them and when, and all the different features that they have and how much I purchased them for. And it just kind of shows like a breakdown of all my machines that I use for my business, which I think is fascinating to see for other businesses, just what they use to run their business every single day, and more than that, why they chose them, because I feel like it's so hard to pick a specific machine or specific thread or fabric, or any tech is like really hard to pick. So I think watching videos like that really helps you kind of decide and narrow down what exactly you want for your own business. And now as for bulk prepping our laptop sleeves, we are so close. It's about like, I think 4 now, and it's only day 2 of this project. So the fact that we could get this many done within 2 days is amazing, because you guys know my bulk prep projects usually take like a week minimum, just because I'm bulk prepping that much and they take so long to make. But this one was really, really quick, just an easy weekend. And now that is our last one. And so I'm gonna go ahead and snip all of the threads here. Oh, another amazing part about this machine is the threads are so tiny on here that you snip off. I hope you're gonna be able to see this, but look at how tiny those are. So there's very, very little thread wasted, and on this side, this kind of gets bunched up, so I'll undo that, but it ends up being really, really short. But such a nice stitch, just an amazing, amazing machine. So let me just quickly snip all the threads from these, get all the extra little threads around the bag, and then put the liner in the bag, and then we'll see the final stack of laptop sleeves that are going to Junkstock. And now they are all done. This is so satisfying to have all of these laptop sleeves in order. I did make 2 of each apart from pink gingham. The other piece of fabric was just not good after quilting it, so I only made one of those, but 2 of everything else. Then moving into April, the month before Junkstock, we need to bulk prep some fabric corner bookmarks. Keeping up the new product theme, we are also adding mini fabric corner bookmarks to this bulk prep, so it's kind of different from my previous bulk preps where I only do the regular size fabric corner bookmarks, but now I had minis as well, so I did both sizes. So let's get into it. So I'm gonna first begin by sewing the triangles of these fabric corner bookmarks, which is like the front side of the bookmark that like actually holds onto your page, because that's just the first step of these. Like we need those little triangles in order to sew the rest of it. So I'm gonna sew all of these 5 little stacks here that I showed you, and we should probably sort out some of these. I know I have like some triangles in there, but I know we're gonna need a lot more than that. So I'm gonna sort out like half and half of these, or like sort out half for triangles and half for backing of the bookmark, and then sew these into their triangles as well. And you might be wondering, Hailey, why were you dreading this project for so long? Why do you not want to make these? Well, it's not that I don't like making them. It's that when I make like 200 of them, it gets to be very, very repetitive. First off, we gotta sew these triangles. That's literally sewing 200 triangles just straight. Then, I mean, that's not even part of the bookmark. It is a component, but it's like the rest of it, whatever. So we need to sew 200 little triangles. In theory, I mean, like, I think this little tray of cut squares is way more than 200. Maybe like close to 200. Each stack is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 42 times 10. That's 420 just sitting on this tray. So even like 200 little triangles wouldn't last very long. Then after that, we actually have to sew the bookmark, which is very similar to like these triangles. It's just like the same thing over and over and over and over again, which is partially why I hesitated making a video for this one. I was like, they're gonna get so bored. I get bored, how are you guys not gonna get bored? But sometimes boredom is part of bulk prepping. Like, we have to do the things that we don't want to do because they're so boring, just like making my wristlets. Like, I didn't film that. I feel like if I film this, it's gonna make me work that much quicker and hopefully not get as bored. But I mean, one can hope, right? I'm already getting bored of this and I'm not even through one stack. But I think if I'm making a video, it's gonna make me work a little bit quicker, be a little more diligent about my time, like get through some more things quicker rather than like getting bored and just like doing something else. Something that I was thinking about before I even started was how many I'm actually gonna make, because obviously 420 little bookmarks I think might be a little too many. But like, we have that many. So do I just make that many and not have to bulk prep for a long time? Or do I do the sensible thing and only make like 200 because that's all that I'm gonna sell at Junkstock? I don't know. I think maybe we'll go, ooh, actually, wait, I have a really good idea. So normally the amount of bulk prep that I do of a single product is determined based on the quantity of something. What if we did it based on the days or the hours that it takes? Like if I give myself 2 days to bulk prep as many fabric corner bookmarks as possible. I wonder how many I could do. Maybe like 2 days sewing, because we actually have to cut the edges with like pinking shears and that takes so incredibly long. So maybe 2 days sewing, 1 day for minis, 1 day for regulars. I think this could actually work. Then I know that there's an end in sight. It's only 2 days. And then I don't like stress myself out making a whole bunch of one size and then not the other. Okay, I like our plan. Let's go ahead and get to sewing up all these triangles, both for size mini and size regular. So then when we're just doing our full day of sewing, we have all of our triangles. Okay, for whatever reason, I feel like I have this delusional confidence that I could definitely sew all of these today. So this whole row is kind of like the random fabrics. Like I don't really keep these year round. They're just kind of, when I did have scraps, I cut them into squares for these. Then we go into like squares that I have year round from like tote bags that I made and just random scraps. And then we go into like quilts that I've upcycled that I saved. And then all of the seasonal fabrics that I've also saved. Like, I don't know why, but this just doesn't seem like that much to actually sew. Like I'm planning to really only do this side of the table. This is not really a priority for me. And over here, I've laid out all of our fabrics and our triangles that we can use that also match the backing, just so that they're a lot easier to find. Otherwise, we can always mix and match, which I'm probably gonna end up doing. And then like over here, these ones don't have any triangles, so we could always sew some, but yeah, these are all of our options to go with the quilted fabric. Like, I don't know why, but I feel like this isn't that much. Maybe it's because I'm looking at the minis and that's just like way too much for me to do in one day. And I think it's because these larger ones I've bulk prepped many times. Like I've emptied this bin before, but the minis I've never done. Like I've never bulk prepped those. So they've just been sitting in the bin since I started saving them. So the plan for the rest of the day, it is 10:43 right now. The plan for the rest of the day is to sew as many of these as I possibly can, which like, I don't know why, but I feel like it's gonna be all of them. I'm gonna really try for all of them, minus the quilts and minus the seasonals. I also counted the number of triangles that we have cut out and it's 215. So if we run out of triangles, we know for sure we made 215. And I think at that point we can just stop anyways, because I think that's gonna be more than enough. So let's get right down to sewing. I'm gonna like throw on a documentary or some sort of YouTube video, something to like keep me distracted while doing this like over and over and over again. I think the only fun part, or like the part that makes me think a little bit, is matching the fabric. It's something that I do look forward to when making these, because I can make all these different color combinations. Like they don't always have to match. So that'll be fun. I'll show you some of the color combinations that I'm loving. And yeah, let's just get right down to it. It is now day 2 of this project. It's actually 2 days later from when we talked. Yesterday I had some orders to do, and then at night I continued working on seasonal and quilts for the regular size Fabric Corner bookmarks. So this is our current stack of Fabric Corner bookmarks that are sewn and either edges cut, and this is what we still have left to do. These are all of our triangles, our seasonal fabrics, quilts behind it, colorful picnic, and some more seasonal. And I know we talked about doing like one day as the time limit for how many fabric corner bookmarks we can make. I'm scrapping that because I'm so close to finishing the regular size, and I'm like, why not just continue the next morning and get it done? So that's what I'm gonna do. But right after this, we're gonna get straight into the minis. We have so many to sew, and just by default, I think they're gonna go quicker just because they're smaller. So I have all of that sitting over there ready to go once we finish these ones up. But I'm loving the fabric combinations for these, like so many fabric colors that I'm creating. So that's one of the cool parts about this, is being able to make some very cool different fabric corner bookmarks to bring to Junkstock and to do for my mystery fabric corner bookmarks online. But I will say this project gets so, I don't want to say boring because it's not boring, but it gets like repetitive. That's a good word. I think it's like a little past 8 right now, so we have all day to finish these up. And then tomorrow will be all about pinking the edges, like cutting them with my pinking rotary cutter to get them all nice and clean. But that's for tomorrow. So let's wrap up these regular size fabric corner bookmarks, then I'll update you once we start the minis. All right, you know what? We only had a couple of our regular size left. This is how many. I could fit them into a little bin. So I think that's pretty close to getting them done. But it is now 10:47. These are taking way too long. We need to get to the minis. So over here I have all of our regular size done. I guess not done, but sewn. They still need the edges cut, but we have a total of 540 fabric corner bookmarks over here. I feel like it doesn't look like it at all, but I counted the triangles as we went. Like every time that I got done finished sewing the triangles, every time that I would cut them, I would count, and then I would just add that to the running total. So we have a total of 540 40. We still have some more to go, obviously, but I think that's good for the regulars for now. But it's time to move on to our size minis. I have a basket full here, and then I also have the tray, or like the lid that I put them on. Our first thing to do is sew up the triangles for these, since we only have this many. I think this was like 90 when I was counting them. So we have a couple of those, and we only have this many for just little scraps that I've cut before. So we might have to cut some more little squares to make triangles. Or I don't even think might, I think we're gonna have to. So I'll get to that once we run out of these, but I would like to see how far we can get on this tray just with the triangles that we can make out of these. And I'm so excited. We're finally gonna get back to, like, I think more fun fabrics. Like, I've just been working on seasonal fabrics, and it's like Christmas fabrics. Like, I don't really want to do that right now. So I'm excited to work with more like colorful, fun fabrics that I have year round. But first things first is just sewing up these little triangles. I'll be sure to keep count our running total of our minis, since I kept count of our regulars. So this is where I'll be for the next couple hours. Let's see how far I can get. It is now about 6 o'clock, and I'm nowhere near finished with our triangles or anything for the size minis. We still have a lot of those to go, as you can tell. But I think more than that, this is the current pile of Fabric Corner bookmarks. And honestly, I don't think that we're gonna be selling more than this. So I've decided I'm gonna start cutting the edges of these. I use like a pinking rotary blade, and I just cut off all 4 sides so that they're nice and even, because this is what they look like before. Like, they're all sewn into a square. I just have to cut outside of that on, I mean, all layers, obviously. So then they get to be nice and wavy, and then they don't fray, and they just have a really clean look to them. So I still need to do that for all 540 regular size, and the minis I'm gonna have to count, because I made about 500 triangles, but obviously I didn't get through all of them. So I'll count the minis, but I just don't see us selling more than this just at one Junkstock. We might have to make a couple more for fall, but I don't think a whole lot. And I know that cutting the edges takes so long. I honestly might take a couple days to do it, because it like hurts my hand that bad and is just so dull. I literally don't know why I filmed this. Like, as I'm filming, I'm like, this is so boring. But this is like the truth of bulk prepping. Like, some items are just not as interesting. I don't know. I'm like so bored of my own progress updates. It's like, come on, Hailey, just get to the end. But on the bright side, we got so many sewn up, and we're gonna have so many different options at Junkstock. Like these color combinations are adorable. Like look at this one. This is from a limited edition fabric and I put vintage blue as the little triangle. I just love them. I think they're so cute. The minis especially. I think the regular size are nice too, but I think the minis will go quick. Which now I'm like, should I just continue making them? Maybe I will, like as the dates get closer, Junkstock that is, maybe I can like sew up a couple more, but I'm just definitely not gonna finish 500 or even close to that tonight. So might as well start on cutting the edges. So let's get the mat, let's get my rotary cutter and get to cutting out the edges. And I don't know what it is about cutting these fabric corner bookmarks that is so satisfying, but I think just going from something so uneven to something very uniform and very perfect is just like the best thing. Here I'm just cutting these on my regular cutting mat. I got this one from Whiskers and I'm just using a 45mm blade. It's like a pinking blade, so it's designed specifically to make this shape. And I just keep a whole separate rotary cutter. I use Olfa as this rotary cutter. I don't think it really matters what brand you get. This is just the one that I prefer, and then I don't have to change out my regular 60mm blade when I want to cut these. But being able to go from this to this is like just the best thing. It's so satisfying. I use this little cover on my pointer finger just so that it doesn't get as worn, because doing this many cuts can definitely wear down your finger and it just hurts so bad. So this little cover definitely helps to prevent some of that like blistering that you can get on your finger. But unfortunately that satisfaction wore off really quick when I realized how many I had to do. But now it's back again because we have everything done. These are all of our fabric corner bookmarks. This is crazy. And there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers to this stack. I mean, just look at the sheer volume of bookmarks that we made. And then here's our minis, barely any, but at least we have some. And after Junkstock, I really wish that I bulk prepped some more of the mini fabric corner bookmarks. I do have so many scraps left that I can make into the mini fabric corner bookmarks. I definitely need to carve out some time before fall Junkstock to make some more. But up next, later in April, we're moving into the most popular products at Junkstock, so I definitely had to get this bulk prep in. That is our makeup bags in size mini, medium, and size large. These took a total of 2 weeks, so let's get right into it. We're gonna start by cutting out our fabric. We have so much fabric to cut out, so I'm gonna speed right through this. This is like probably the most boring part of bulk prepping because I have 23 different fabrics. We've got a lot of different liner fabrics, and tonight I'm just hoping to get it all cut out, and then tomorrow we can actually focus on quilting all of it. I've literally been putting this off all day. It's just like so daunting, but you know what? One step at a time. Let's get started. it is now a couple days later. Everything is quilted. I also cut out our quilted fabric and our liner fabric, and I've begun the process of pinning. So these are our mini makeup bags that I pinned the liners of, so those all need to be sewn. And then these are all of the outer fabrics of the mini makeup bags that need their labels added to the front, and I've already done this many. Pinning the liner and the zipper doesn't take very long, and sewing it doesn't take very long either. But these labels, first, like pinning them on there takes forever because I use tape and I have to like measure everything out. So instead what I'm doing is I'm just putting it on my table here and I'm measuring out as I go and then taking a label and sewing it. And this, for whatever reason, I just find to be a lot easier and quicker. Then I also don't waste a whole lot of tape, and then I don't also have another step of pinning. It's kind of like I'm just pinning as I go. I can just like hold it on and put it under the machine and then just sew it. So that's what I'm starting on tonight. I do think we should be able to get through, well, I actually don't know. This is a lot of labels to get through for one night. I'm gonna really try to get through this whole stack of labels. Probably not the zippers tonight, like the zipper and liner, the stuff that I pinned over by the 8700, but I'm definitely gonna try and get the labels done. And then maybe I'll sort out like the medium or large makeup bags because I also have those. So anyways, that's a little update. That's where I'm at. The quilting and the cutting was pretty easy, pretty straightforward. But now we're getting into more like the intricate measuring and sewing of the actual bag. So it's gonna be a little bit more complicated and take a little bit more time. So I'm gonna take my time with it. We're currently like 3 weeks, I think. 3 weeks out. It's April, I don't even know what day it is. Okay, it's April 13th and Junkstock starts on May 1st. So we're like half a month out. I don't even know. I'm just gonna keep on working. Let me just time lapse this for you. I think this will be really satisfying to have like time lapses for this video because there's such a large quantity of product. So let's get to it. We're ready for another day of sewing. Last night I wrapped up the labels. So I have some mini back here. These are all the size large, and then I have some more mini like way back there. Some more minis, and then all of the regular size makeup bags. So all of them got the labels put on them. The one thing that I did not do was trim the thread. So there's threads right here. Well, this one doesn't, but I like pull them up from the bottom and snip those threads. So I didn't do that as I went because that's pretty easy to do at the end once we're snipping all the threads of the bag. And now we're moving on to this step with the zipper and the liner. So as you can tell, I've already done some work this morning, but we still have these two piles to go.
We're now officially 2 weeks and 1 day out from the setup of Junkstock. And we're coming along good. The office is quite the disaster right now, but we have regular makeup bags pinned with the second liner. And then these are all of the size large makeup bags. And then the size minis, I already did this step and sewed it. So we just need to do a whole next step for all of these. So I'm gonna work through these first to get them caught up to this point. And same goes with over here. These are actually a step ahead, and then these even one more. So, and same with those. I feel like there's just stuff everywhere. We are now 2 weeks away from Junkstock setup. And I think this is the first time really looking at just how many makeup bags we're making. I mean, look, this is the height of all of these stacks, and this is how many we have. All the minis, these are size large, and then in the back we have the size regular and even more size mini. This is insane. Like, just the scale, I feel like we haven't really seen this yet, just how many are actually in progress. And now all of these need to have these sides sewn down and also the pull tabs added to them. So that's our next step for all of these bags, which I'm really gonna try to finish today. I just don't think that it will happen though. Also because we're gonna have to refill my little makeup bag pull tab bucket here, probably multiple times throughout today because we don't have very many in here. And we need 2 pull tabs per bag. I just can't wait to see them all done. I'm so excited. It feels like we're actually getting somewhere finally. Okay, it's been a little bit since we talked. It is now Monday, April 20th. All weekend, I've been working on the last couple of steps, just like sewing up the sides, cutting the sides, and then adding the bias tape, and then also cutting the corners for the next step that we need to sew. A lot of it was just like off-camera stuff that I'm just like cutting very repetitively, or like cutting the one bias tape side. I think I like time-lapse that, I don't even know. But I got all that done this weekend. So now this week is all about sewing the sides, cutting the threads, and flipping the bags and finishing them up. So last night I started working on pinning the corners, and these are all mini makeup bags. This is about half of them. And I put them in a huge tote so that they actually sit on this table nice, otherwise they all just fall over. So as you can see, I just pinned all the sides, and all my extra clips came in really handy for this because these are all the clips that I have. Like, this is kind of crazy. Then over here we have regular makeup bags. We also have some more on the chair down there. So those are gonna be next. Well, I guess after the rest of the mini makeup bags. And then we have all of the size large that still need their corners cut, except for that one that's actually a regular size. But all of these need their corners cut and then pinned and then sewn as well. So we're coming along really good for being only maybe like a week and a couple days into this project. At the beginning, I actually did print out like a 12-day sewing plan because I figured the weekends I probably won't work on anything, which I ended up doing. So we're a little bit ahead of this 12-day sewing plan, and we should be on day 10. I honestly couldn't tell you if we are on day 10. I don't really know. It just feels like I've worked on it every day since not this most recent Friday, but the Friday before that. So it's been, hang on, that's 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we're on day 11 then. So pretty good. I mean, I feel like this 12-day sewing plan was a little quick, especially because I didn't plan to make this much. But regardless, we're doing really good on time, and Junkstock is, oh my gosh, next week. This is crazy. So with that being said, let's get right into this bin. We have so much work to do. I think I just finished this in like record time. It is 11:20, so it took us about 3 hours, almost exactly 3 hours, to finish all of these makeup bags, which leads me to think that I could also finish the other half of the mini makeup bags today. Like, if we don't flip all of them today, I think that's fine. We could always do that like on the last day, but at least to get them all sewn is a huge relief, or just like a huge step done. So I think now I'm gonna go ahead and pin the other half of the mini makeup bags, and hopefully we can get them all sewn, and then maybe we can start flipping them tonight. And if we finish them all, that's great. If not, we can do it on the last day or even tomorrow. But I'm so happy with the progress. I can't believe only 3 hours. Like, it's crazy what you can do when you don't procrastinate. That's what I'm learning with this project, honestly. So I'm gonna keep that ball rolling, and I'm gonna pin the rest of our mini makeup bags and sew them up. We're back. It is Tuesday. This is day, what did we figure? Was it 10 yesterday? Either 10 or 11. So today's day 11 or 12. I can't keep track of it. But I'm so excited to get started today because I think today might be our last day bulk prepping these. And that might be really out there to say, but we definitely have a chance to finish these today. Let me show you where we're at. So wrapping up from yesterday, this is how far I got. I got a full bin of freshly made mini makeup bags all done. So I boxed all of those up, and then we all have this bin that I'm working on right now. And this is how far I got, and this is how many we still have to go. This is insane. But I would say we're like a little over halfway done with these mini makeup bags, just flipping them, cutting the threads off and flipping them. So we still do have some work to do here, but we can definitely finish this maybe tonight. But as for sewing today, this is a half of what we have to do. These are the regular makeup bags that we're making, and this is all of them. So compared to the minis, we had 2 boxes. This one, we only have 1. So this should go pretty quick. And we didn't even use all the pins. So we have even less than a half of what we did over there. And the second thing that we have to complete is the large makeup bags. I think we're gonna have a lot more of these than the regulars. And we also still need to cut off the corners off of these. So that'll take a little extra time as well. But those I'm planning to do after the regular makeup bags. So I got our full bin of our bias tape for the corners of regular makeup bags. So I got all that done. Hopefully this should be enough. This should be like more than enough, especially just for one bin. But I'm gonna get straight to it. It is, let's see, 8:06. So about the same time that we started yesterday. So I think if I can keep like the momentum going, we could still get really far through at least the regular makeup bags. For sure the regular makeup bags, and probably the large makeup bags as well. I can't believe this might be the last day. Probably not very shocking. I'm kind of excited. Like, it's been fun and all, but I'm ready to get to Junkstock. Like, I still got a couple more things to do, and it's gonna be so satisfying to see the end product of all of these that I'm like, okay, it's been fun, but let's wrap it up. So I'm gonna get straight to work, working on these regular makeup bags first, probably completing them by like before noon, maybe like 11:30, kind of like we did yesterday. And then we will get into large makeup bags, which actually, I kind of wish that I started with those because we do have more, but it'll be okay. And we have like a couple more steps to do, like cutting the corners. So we'll get through it. We got all day. I cannot believe this. We are done with bulk prepping makeup bags. This is only the size large, and I have 3 rows of them, just like how you see on the front. This is crazy, and I honestly can't wait to count them because I still have not counted. But now we gotta box these all up so that we can take them to Junkstock. So let me get all of my totes, and let's do the final count. I'm gonna try to keep them in order of like all of the same fabrics, but we'll see if that actually works. This is seriously like the best part of bulk prepping, is just being able to gather up everything and pack it all up, especially like the organization of it all. I just love packing things in totes. I don't know what it is. I also got so many bins so that we don't run out of space and they don't have to be squished. And now they're all packed up, all sizes, all 3 sizes, plus we also have these 2 as well. This is crazy. I cannot believe it. Like, they're done. We've spent like almost 2 weeks on this project and now they're done. Part of me just can't even believe it. We have all the minis here in these bins. Then we have size regular, size large, and all 3 of these are size large. And then we have size regular, and we have a little bit of room down here for like some extras there. But like, bulk prepping makeup bags is done. We're like ready for Junkstock now, pretty much. I can't believe it. You know, the other thing that I was thinking about is I can't believe I actually made this amount. Like, regardless of what the number is, this is an insane amount to make within 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks, actually. It's Thursday. In the back of my head, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna get through all this. And I did. It's crazy. Okay, let's count them. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows by 1, 2, 3, 4 deep. So each one has 6. So that'll be 12 times 5. That gives us 60. And we have 2 bins like that. This one is a little bit different. And as you can see, we're missing a couple. And the reason that is some of them I like forgot to do the top stitch or something. So I'm going back and I'm fixing them, but they will eventually be in here. But this one's a little bit different, how we have just like this extra stack over here. So I'll count those separate. So this is our total for our mini makeup bags that we made. That's nuts. Like that is crazy. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, we have our mini, which was 183, and then I added our regular, which is 64, and size large we made 85. So that gives us a grand total of 332 makeup bags.
After bulk prepping these and doing Junkstock, I realized that it was definitely the wrong move to do most of mini and then the least of size large. I ended up selling out of a lot of the size large and then a whole bunch of the mini I still had left. But this was a great learning lesson. I can definitely make some less of the size minis and then more of size regular and size large. But up next we have our last bulk prep before Junkstock. This was like the week before Junkstock, and we did keychain wallets and pencil cases. I had to have these at Junkstock. They are such a popular seller. So let's see how many I can wrap up before Junkstock. Lucky for us, we already have a ton of quilted fabric for the keychain wallets. That's what all of these shelves are. And for these keychain wallets, I organized them based on the listing that I have on Etsy. So they're in order of like A, B, C, D, E, whatever. And these are double stacked. So behind each of these, I have the stack of quilted fabric plus like some that were left over that I bulk prepped. These must have been from fall Junkstock, honestly. So I just put those right on top of the rest of the quilted fabric. But then behind that, we also have another stack of quilted fabric of the same print that's in front. So these are all double stacked, completely full of quilted fabric, because I think it was like, I want to say 2 months ago, I bulk sewed all of this fabric, like quilted all of it, cut it all out, and just put it on the shelves because I was planning to bulk prep keychain wallets earlier and I just never did. I don't know why, honestly, but now I'm doing it. So we do have all of the fabric made, at least, which is like a huge part of bulk prepping done. And for all of these prints, if I do have some keychain wallets already made, they're gonna be on top and the front. So I think first thing that we should do is go through and see how many of each wallet we have already, because we won't need to bulk prep so many if we already have, like this one, we already have 6 made. Like we don't need to make any more. But like this one, Colorful Picnic, is so popular and we need a lot of that one and we don't have any made. So that's definitely one that I'll have to pull. I got my tote here next to me. So as we go and we pull some keychain wallets, I'm gonna put them in the tote so that they're ready to be brought to Junkstock. And I'm just gonna get started here. Like Ditzy Picnic Pink is really popular. So I wanna be sure to have a lot of this one on hand. But right now we only have 4. So I think I'm gonna end up making 2 of this one. But I'm gonna put it in the tote there and grab 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, because 1 for each side of the keychain wallet. Oh, I guess we actually have one on the bottom here too. Okay, so we have 5. That's interesting. Okay, so then we only have to make 1, which this is a good start, honestly. I really thought that we would have to make like a whole ton of wallets, but looking at these, we might just have to make a lot, not a whole ton, but like still kind of a lot. Okay, pink gingham, we have 3. Honestly, I think this should be good for pink gingham. This one isn't too popular. And pink hearts, obviously, we already have 6 made, so those will be good to just bring to Junkstock. We're off to a really good start here. Primrose, we only have 2. Let's make, let's say 2 more, maybe. I'm really trying to keep this like reasonable. I would love to do like a 48-hour bulk prep and not have to like bulk prep for a week straight, like right up to Junkstock. I want to try and keep it like manageable, like what I can actually get done within the next 2 days. Pink and yellow floral, we have 3. Let's make, I don't know, this one's kind of popular. Let's do 3 more. It is such a relief to have all of this fabric already quilted. It's like one of the biggest parts of bulk prepping. Okay, mini roses, we already have 3. Let's just keep that. So let me time lapse this for you guys. I'm gonna go through all of these shelves. So you already have pulled the quilted fabric, and then we will repeat for pencil cases, but I think it's gonna be a little bit different because we don't have very much quilted fabric. Okay, let's speed this up.
This doesn't look like much, but this is quite a bit of keychain wallets and pencil cases that I already pulled. Then these are all of the pencil cases and keychain wallets that we'll have to sew. And these are all of the fabrics from the pencil cases that we need to quilt some more fabric of, because I didn't just want to pull like 3 of these bright floral, like I want to do some more. And same with like purple wildflower, purple floral, all of these, colorful picnic, like this was all that I had. But the shelves are looking pretty bare, and I think if we don't end up having enough pencil cases, we can definitely grab some more of this fabric and make them. But this is our grand total. Like, we still got to quilt some more and cut that, but overall I think this is very doable to do in 2 days. And one of the nice parts is I already have this whole bin full of cut fabric for pencil cases, so I'm gonna dig through here, see if I can find fabrics that we need, which we have pink gingham here, which I know we need that. We also need mini, oh, we need vintage pink, and oh, this is like perfect. Purple wildflower. Okay, we're kind of running out. Purple floral, bright floral, and mini bows. What else? I think that there was one more that we needed. Oh, rosette, that's what it was. Okay, this is actually perfect. We literally had everything already cut out in this bin, so we can just go ahead and quilt these up. This seems like it's gonna be the easiest bulk prep that I've ever done. I don't think it will be, but I think coming off of making 300 makeup bags, this seems like a breeze. So our first step here, since we already have all of our fabric quilted, is I'm gonna split these up half and half for the fabrics so that I can focus on only sewing the labels and then only sewing the liner. Well, I guess maybe for this, since I have so little, I might just sew like up until the top stitch next to the zipper, just right here, and not have to pin anything, because then after that we'll definitely have to pin stuff. But for projects this small, I really don't pin a lot of things just because the products are so small and I just like to do it here at the machine. So yeah, maybe I'll sew up until our top stitch. I'll just get that done really quick, and then we can actually pin everything for the next step after that. Next to me, I have our labels that are gonna go on each product. My pencil case zippers, my keychain wallet zippers, and then also all of the liners that I have cut out. Whenever I have scrap fabric, just like leftover fabric that I'm cutting off the bolt, I will always cut it into like a size that I need for either keychain wallets, pencil cases, fabric corner bookmarks, wristlets, whatever it is. And so I end up with stacks like this that I can use when I'm bulk prepping, and it just has all my different liner fabrics that I can choose from. And then this way I don't actually have to cut off the bolt in order to make my liner fabrics. It's just easier, and I have so much of it now that I think we'll be able to get through all of this without even touching the bolts of fabric. So I'm just gonna get right to work. I think honestly we're gonna get through this so fast. Like, if not 48-hour bulk prep, definitely like 36-hour bulk prep. So I'm gonna get right to work. I think this should be a really short, easy project. I'm laughing because every time I say that, something goes wrong. So maybe I should say it's gonna be a really difficult and long time consuming project, but we'll see. Let's start with labels, the first liner, and the zipper. All right, that was easy enough. It is now the next day. I just did a little bit of work this morning finishing these up, and this is where we're at. We have 2 stacks of pencil cases and 3 stacks of keychain wallets. Oh wait, no, those are pencil cases. We have 2 stacks of keychain wallets, 3 of pencil cases. So our next step is to pin these all. This is the step that they're currently on. I just sewed the outer fabric together with the liner fabric, and I also added the label and the zipper. And then after I sew this top stitch, then they're ready to be pinned for kind of like their last final stitch. It's like the stitch before adding the stitch to close the hole of the bag, if that makes sense. So it's like second to last, I guess, but it's pretty much like the longest step of the process. So that means we're on track to finish these up today. I feel like this process went by so fast, but we are now done with keychain wallets and pencil cases. Here is the final total. We got keychain wallets here in the back, and then we have all the different pencil cases as well. And this is the height of our stacks. Like, we've got quite a bit here. And even with only two, I guess this is the third day, but like 2 days of work pretty much, this is really good progress. I remember it used to take me so long just to do a couple keychain wallets. So the fact that I could just whip these out within 2 days, it feels really good. Like, I'm actually coming along on the speed that I can make my products. But I have not done the final total, so let's count them up really quick. 9, 10, 11, 21, 22, 32, 30, 39, 40, 49, 60, 68, 69. Wow, I actually made a lot. 374, 72, 83. 83 pencil cases. That's nuts, actually, when I think about that within 2 days. Okay, let's do keychain wallets now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 29, 30, 51, 52, 57, 58 keychain wallets. How many pencil cases again? I think it was 70 something, right? I
like literally can't remember. I think it was 70 something. And then we had like 50 some of keychain wallets. So that's about 130 little bags, I guess. I think over 130 is a great number to hit just for the amount of time that I gave myself to bulk prep these. But I think in the future, I definitely need some dedicated videos for these. But that wraps up all of the bulk preps that I did before spring 2026 junk stock. And you can definitely expect some future bulk preps for fall 2026 junk stock. I have so much work to do to restock my bins for fall junk stock. So I'll be sure to have those up soon. So definitely subscribe so that you don't miss them. But with that, I hope that this gave you guys some inspiration on how to bulk prep your products. Just a couple of steps that I take to make it a little bit easier for market prep. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. What is your favorite product that we bulk prep together? I'm curious to hear. Let me know down in the comments. And with that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in my next one. Mwah. Bye.